I now call to order this December 12th review session. Madam Treasurer, may we have a roll call?
President Goodwin,
Here.
Mr. Smith,
He will be arriving shortly.
Mr. Sampson,
Present.
Ms. Wick,
Present.
Dr. Pickett,
Present.
Ms. Reinhardt,
Present.
Mr. Lacy.
Here.
6 present.
Mr. Nichols, too, please.
Mr. Nichols, 7 present.
Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. It's always a race with you. Right, Dr. Lawrence, I believe we have a special presentation up first.
Dr. Goodwin, we do. Always wonderful to see the fall sports champions. Always great to see the kids. And I don't know about you, but it's good to be back in this room.
It's my favorite room.
Absolutely.
Should come here more often.
We should. Let's do it. So let's get this thing kicked off. Chief Jones, are you ready? All right.
Good evening, Dr. Goodwin, Dr. Lawrence, Vice President Smith, board members, and the treasurer, and one of my favorites, Mr. Nichols. Good to see you again. It's always good to be in here with some new champions, our fall champions. Thank you for the opportunity to recognize these student athletes for their hard work and their coaches. We're going to start out with Belmont Bisons first because they have a Christmas event going on too. We also have games tonight, so we're going to try to push through this as quickly as possible. So we'll have A.D. Mullins come up first.
So first up, we have Belmont Boys and Girls Cross Country and head coach Kim Norsworthy. They'll be followed by city champions Belmont Boys Soccer and coach of the year Wayne Lawrence.
Thank you. Thank you, board members. Thank you, Dr. Lawrence, President Goodwin, and our director, athletic director, Chief Jones, and Ms. Mullins, also Ms. Cicchetti, our principal. We are 12-time City League champions. Yes, 12-time City League champions. It was awesome that our boys and our girls this year were able to win the City League championship. So we are excited about you guys allowing us to come here to honor our great athletes. So let me go ahead and get started because we do have to leave. First up, Anaya Moneyham, Siambra Morton, Safa Daoud, Mariam Domi, Sunum Escobar, Gentil Muska Kandenzi, Nuella Muka Kandenzi, Siraj, John Vieira, Taha Hamid, Lunga Lukosi, Jason Maddox, Norman Sorio, Anthony Sorio, and Josiah Davis.
Good evening, everyone. We're just going to run through this soccer team. I'm so proud of these boys for all the accomplishments they had this year. We played some tough games, and we traveled most of the time. So our wins were very rewarding. So with no further ado, I'm going to run through the team. My senior, Fiston. Another senior, Thomas Kamoa. Another senior, Shamari. Lunga, another senior. Osnes, my midfielder. Simon. Sam, my athletic academic champion. Jean Paulo. Come on, I forgot his name. Just go. That's Siraj. Come on, Kay. His name is so long I can't even pronounce it. Laban, and my captain and player of the year, Kalimba Malimba.
Next up, we have Ponitz Girls Soccer and our Coach of the Year, Coach Lyons.
Good evening, everybody. Can you hear me? Yeah, good evening, everybody. On the board and everybody, doctor, everybody. We just won this year. This was our first year winning. We tied it with Stivers. And I'm going to go ahead and go and get the girls going. This is Cena, EXO, Bifaza, Celine, Isra, Tony, Lucia, Samaya, Regina, Sifa, Josephina, Sifa, Agnes, Christine, Layla, and at the end, Blessing.
Next up, we have Stivers Volleyball. Coach Jackson was our Coach of the Year. He had to step away to go to a game, so I'm going to go ahead and announce these players. First up, we have Phoenix Carter. Micaiah Gillis. Mackenzie Brown Jackson. Aaliyah Bozeman. Olivia Bozeman. Ayana Petty. And Japrice Taylor. Our final high school champion for tonight, Dunbar football, and Coach of the Year, Coach James Lacking.
Good evening, everyone. I just hope that everybody just can gain an appreciation for what football players go through. We endure multiple climates: the heat, the rain, the snow, frigid temperatures, and asked to maintain an adequate GPA to participate in after-school activities. So without further ado, we want to introduce our city champions. But before we do that, we want to introduce our leader, Ms. Katrina Bailey. So first up, we got James Bailey. James Bailey will be heading to Defiance College in Columbus, Ohio this year. Next up, we have Dorian Briscoe, all-city linebacker. I'm sorry, James Bailey was also all-city as well. All-city linebacker. Dorian was honorable mention all area. Next up, we have Caden Eastlick. Caden Eastlick was a first-year player, contributed a lot for us. Next up, is his name is Mr. a.k.a. Demirion Foster, the agitator. Next up, we have the goon, one half of the twin, Ted Von Glover. Ted Von is aspiring to be a Central State Marauder this year. Next up, we have Javian Graves. We have Offensive Player of the Year, and he has a multitude of options to choose on the next level right now. We have Javon House. Javon House was an able contributor as well. We're thankful for Javon House. We also have Nicholas Jones, a.k.a. Nick. Nick has a variety of situations. He has Anderson. He has Liberty. He has a variety of situations up and coming right now for the next level. Last but not least, we have Bryce Nelson. Shout out to Nick for making All City as well, James Bailey, and Bryce Nelson. So once again, we appreciate you all. Thank you very much.
Next up, they arrived here, co-city champions for girls soccer. We've got Stivers girls soccer and Coach Ahmed.
Thank you very much, first of all, for giving us this award. I mean, recognizing our team. I just want to say that soccer is growing in Dayton. We had 4 middle school teams and quite a number of high schools playing in the soccer program. I think next year we're going to have Dunbar, Thurgood Marshall, and many other schools just joining the programs. We have 2 players who came in today, Amaya and Brooklyn. The other players couldn't make it because they're so busy. I think Stivers, they have dance and all different things. They couldn't make it. We had 1 player who's going to play college Division I. Danielle Scott. She'll be playing at Cleveland State. Okay, that's really great because I think she's the first player from Dayton to go to play first division. That's really awesome. So I have Brooklyn over here. And Amaya. Again, thank you very much.
All right, next we have our middle school football champions, Wagaman Elks.
First off, I just want to give a huge congratulations to these young men because they faced some adversity late towards the end of the season, and they overcame that and still became city champs. So congratulations to these young men. First off, we have Mark Dalton, Robert Harding, Justin Wheatley, Antonio Baldwin, Anthony Baldwin, Kellen Wood, Deontay Satterwhite, Dion Belton, Justin Leard. I know I pronounced it wrong, I'm sorry. Adrian Pinson, Tion Pound, Keandre Sims, Angelo Sims, William Cooley, Jamar Burke, I know I'm mispronouncing, Dario Hill, Diaro Hill, my bad, Diaro Hill, Trayvon Jackson, Ariane Cochran.
All right, next we have Wright Brothers soccer team. Wright Brothers soccer team actually went undefeated on the season. So huge congratulations to them.
Yeah, so undefeated, a team of 26 guys. They did awesome. It's our 4th season as a soccer program. We kind of started the middle school soccer program at Wright Brothers. And now we actually have teams in the district to play. This was the first time of that, so it's awesome. These guys did great. So we got 4 of them here today, so hopefully next year we'll win it again and we'll bring the whole team. So first off, we have Caleb Hauschel. We have Sibo Cyprian. Abraham Nishibimana. And Evan Moe.
This concludes our recognition. Thank you so much. And I do want to recognize our principals as well. They were up here, so we want to thank them for, the collaboration and their hard work as well.
All right, thank you. Really excited to see all of our young student athletes out here. Best part of being at a board meeting. Our next presentation, I believe this is an update from our consultants at the AMA Group. And just come up to the podium. I will say for individuals in the audience that public comment is tonight. If you do want to speak, please go online right now and sign up. Unfortunately, it was not there, but we want to get that remedied for individuals. So you kind of have until the end of this presentation to fill that out so we can have you up here, so.
Good evening, board members. It's a pleasure to be with you all today. Again, I'm Monica Santana Rosen with the ALMA Advisory Group. Pleased to share with you all the results of all of the different community conversations that we had. And I want to thank the board for making time during this board meeting to ensure that as many people as possible can see the results. Tonight, I'm going to cover 3 key topics. The first is an update on the search. The second is to share the results of our community engagement. And the third is a comparison between the job profile and what we heard from the community. First, as always, we begin with the shared purpose that the board established when you began this process. The board agreed to attract, screen, and select the superintendent of Dayton Public Schools and created several key goals in this process. The first was to be guided by the input of the Dayton Public Schools, employees, caregivers, students, and the community at large, as well as leveraging the expertise of leaders with proven success turning around urban school systems. The board also wanted to design the process that would mitigate bias every step of the way. Our timeline has been consistent from the start. The board wanted to make sure that we began with hearing the voices of the community. One of the reasons ALMA Advisory Group was hired is because of our core belief that the people with the most at stake in this decision shouldn't just have the opportunity to give input, they should have a seat at the table, they should be driving the process. And that really means hearing from everybody in the community and understanding what they care about and what they want to see. That's what we're here to share tonight. Our recruiting has been ongoing throughout the fall, and screening is in process. What we are hoping is that in January, we will be able to present candidates to the community and engage the community in interviewing those candidates. The board's goal is to announce their selected candidate in February or March. So what have we accomplished so far? We launched a survey. We came and met with community members in person and virtually to maximize as many people as possible. We created with the board a job profile and began recruiting and interviewing first-round candidates for the role. What's next is that the board members are going to do their due diligence in screening and selecting candidates for this process. So a bit of background about our community engagement. Our staff and community survey had 436 respondents who represented the community. I'll share a little bit about those demographics in a moment. We ended up having 2 community gatherings, one that was in person and one that was virtual, in total 68 participants, and then 21 meetings, including interviews and focus groups. We had 171 participants, And our largest participating group were our students, your students. We had 68 students participating. The voices represented in our report represent your students, your alum, your parents and caregivers, teachers and licensed staff, residents of Dayton, graduates, non-instructional staff members, building and central office administrators, and community partners, all dedicated to the school system. Our conversation centered on 5 key questions. What do you love most about the district that will be important for the superintendent to champion and protect? What are the top 2 to 3 areas of improvement? What skills or experiences are most important for the superintendent to be able to demonstrate in order to be successful in this role? And what would you like to see from Alma that would demonstrate to you that what you shared with us made a difference in the process? It's a little hard to see on the screen, but this pie chart represents the members of the community that participated in our survey. And what you see is a fair number of community members, caregivers and families, students, alum, and staff all participating in the survey. In terms of the demographics of those who responded, the demographics in terms of race and ethnicity tended to mirror the broader Dayton community. So our largest represented group were African American, second largest were white, and then about 12% of our survey respondents represented other ethnicities. About 9% of the respondents preferred not to answer that question. So what have we learned so far? First of all, the community in Dayton is so proud of its school system and of the community, and there were many, many strengths highlighted. Stakeholders shared a strong sense of community and the value of community ties in Dayton. Staff shared that they love the family feel of the district, and they shared the importance of relationships in Dayton Public Schools. Many appreciated the extracurriculars that support student engagement and physical well-being, highlighted very much this evening. The historic athletic history of the district is something that many people are really proud of, but they spoke about the district prioritizing field trips, sports, college visits, and other opportunities outside of school as a shining strength for the district. Well-being supports like mental health services, resilience coordinators, and mentorship programs were cited not only as crucial supports for students, but supports that enable teachers to truly focus on teaching. Teachers and staff that are passionate and dedicated to working with and making a difference for students. This was something highlighted by our caregivers, by just about every member that we spoke to, but certainly most of all by students. Speaking of students, especially among the adults, we heard a lot of appreciation for the amazing students that you have and valuing who they are and what they bring, with a focus and a hope to maintain high expectations for students and ensure they're receiving the necessary supports to be successful. There was a lot of support for promising programs like the College Credit Plus program, culture festivals, after-school programming, pre-K Promise program, and art and music as something that was important to sustain moving forward. And many stakeholders highlighted the district's focus on diversity. Staff shared a love for diversity and the opportunity to work in a diverse district community. They stressed the importance of valuing the diversity of both students and staff. And finally, partnerships and community involvement. There's great pride in the partnerships the district has, the rich higher education community that surrounds Dayton, and the many community leaders and community organizations that are committed to the district's success. We wanted to give a moment to lift up the voices of the students who spoke with us. They were, as always, incredibly insightful and candid in their feedback. And there were several things they wanted you to know, some of which I've already shared, but for sure, they really appreciate the extracurricular programs and offerings like field trips, sports, culture festivals, and outside activities. They talked about the quality of teaching of the teaching staff and the care that they show to students. This was a consistent theme for us in each of our conversations with your students. They talked about the diversity of their student groups. This was a specific call out for all students, and especially for students who've come from other countries to Dayton Public. They discussed the happy, inclusive learning spaces that have a positive impact on students, and they shared the opportunities for college preparation, again, including college road trips and the College Credit Plus program. And they had a number of things they'd like to see strengthened in their schools. Students talked about the security of buildings, including assessment of current and alternative strategies to keep buildings safe. They mentioned higher academic standards. And I have to say, this was something we heard from just about every single community group that we spoke with. This interest in elevating the rigor of instruction that's happening in every classroom. Students mentioned consistently teaching full classes. They want to see better accountability for class attendance. And they want to see improved technology, including new Chromebooks and IT support. They also really want to see healthier, tastier, and more diverse school lunch options, and improved oversight of the lunch distribution process to ensure that all students have access to lunch every day. And finally, safer, cleaner, and more accessible bathrooms that include availability of female products. These are the things your students are asking for. So we wanted to share what the top priorities were for improvement by stakeholder group. So what you see on this slide are the top 6 areas of improvement. And although there were differences in priorities and ranking across groups, just about everybody, whether it was in our conversations or in the survey, everybody seems most concerned about attracting and retaining strong staff and improving student academic performance. What I would say is your parents and caregivers called out the need for student mental health and well-being. And then your non-instructional staff also called out preparing students for college. That was very important to that group. When we looked at the priorities by race and ethnicity, although the scores differed, the top 3 priorities were consistent. So what we saw was, again, attracting and retaining strong staff, supporting student mental health and well-being, and improving student academic performance coming up as a top priority. We wanted to summarize for you the opportunities for improvement that came out of each of our conversations. And so first is this idea of greater focus on improvement of academic outcomes through increasing the rigor of instruction. Whether it was your teachers, your principals, your administrators, there's a desire for standards-based instruction and training and development for teachers to be able to achieve this. There's also a desire to improve communication. And so there were a number of comments about a culture that has felt at times as very top-down, and a desire to have both clear expectations, but also feedback loops and open collaboration and communication with schools. So what we heard from stakeholders was to break down silos and speed up responsiveness as a way of minimizing confusion, but also rebuilding trust. There was, again, this focus on recruitment, development of retention, specifically for teachers, including teachers of color, and those who have experienced working in an urban setting in the past. Stakeholders shared the importance of hiring high-quality staff and supporting them. Another focus was working toward equitable distribution of resources across schools, ensuring that every school has the resources needed to support students. whether that be after-school programming, bus passes, sports programs, etc. And developing and cultivating community partnerships. There's a lot of support in the community to continue building strong partnerships with the district and defining what supports are needed to provide wraparound services for students and their families. So we also coded all of the open text responses, and a number of the survey respondents answered the question, DPS will be successful if we accomplish these 3 things in the next 5 years. And the top 5 noted things, again, retention, development, and support of staff, better communication, teamwork and accountability between school staff and parents, improving student academic achievement, support and engage students, and build a strong, positive, disciplined culture. This notion of the working culture, working conditions, and climate, what it feels like to work here, continuously came up in our conversation. We had a similar open text response. Anything else you would like to share about the search and selection of the next superintendent? And here, the top noted comment was support for the interim. The second was wanting a leader who knows and lives in the Dayton community, someone who is a strong and transparent communicator, someone who must support and listen to staff, hire sufficient staff, and someone who must have a track record of success and strong leadership. So here we wanted to point out that a number of stakeholders throughout our conversations expressed support for the interim superintendent, as I'm sure many of you as board members have heard. And we want to say that the majority of our conversations really focused on the strengths and opportunities for the district overall and the desired traits in a permanent superintendent. You have members of your community who are really interested in seeing how the process plays out, as well as those who are seeing the search as potentially something that could be a waste of time because you already have your leader in your midst. So it's important to understand that those points of view are out there and were shared with us. Shared agreement exists from parents, students, staff, and community groups about wanting a leader who is collaborative, student-centered, and can unify the community around a clear vision for success. So now I want to talk a little bit about the job profile itself and the skills that were called out. The first skill set prioritized by your community was the need to be a strong communicator and collaborator. In addition, we had a focus on maintaining a student-centered mindset and then the ability to build trust among stakeholders. And that includes board, district staff, teachers, and all stakeholders. Although the score differed, these results were actually similar when we looked at them broken down by ethnicity as well. Now, we know the board has been engaged in conversations with Alma about the job profile. And so what we wanted to share with you all is that, as a real affirming thing, is that many of the things the board has prioritized throughout the search really align with the things that the community is asking for. So we really see that the feedback has been critical and it has illuminated a lot of the things that you all have called out and will provide a lot of insight as we are crafting the interview questions, moving into this next phase of the process, and coming to understand whether your candidates have truly demonstrated the skill sets that you're looking for. So with that, I will turn it over to you to answer any questions you might have.
Thank you. Are there any questions from the board? No questions, so thank you.
All right, thanks.
Appreciate you coming out and giving that presentation. All right, next, Madam Treasurer, do we have anyone signed up to speak from the public?
Yes.
1 second. I will just ask that when you come to the podium, please state your name and your address. Please note that time is limited to 3 minutes. Is there actually someone keeping time today? So, I will keep it for you. It is inappropriate to address any matters involving pending disputes, grievances under a labor agreement, disciplinary action involving an employee or a student, ongoing labor negotiations, concerns or matters that have already been settled, and or any matter which because of its nature is deemed appropriate to be discussed in executive session. Go ahead, Madam Treasurer.
Brittany Ramsey.
Hi, it's Bethany Ramsey, 400 East Fifth Street.
Go ahead.
Okay, sorry. Okay. Hello, board members. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. I do want to thank President Goodwine for the decision to allow members to speak at review sessions. I know that's new. I'm here to express my concern for the current board lack of communication, transparency, and engagement with DPS families on critical decision-making. And I stand in solidarity with other family members that believe DPS families must come together and unionize to finally solve the ongoing issues with the board. Just recently, you all decided on a last-minute school closure that left parents scrambling with work and childcare. That's one of the many examples of how the board makes top-down decisions without doing the work of checking in with your constituents. You all are public servants, and you keep missing the mark on serving the public. And now I am disappointed that there was no notice that Alma would be presenting the important superintendent research today, even though we had asked at the public forum that our families would be given enough notice. I am also here to share my concerns on this superintendent search. Please understand I have no issues with the concept of a search, and understanding when done correctly is valuable. But why didn't you do this at the end of Lolly's contract instead of renewing her for a year? She ended up leaving us, our community high and dry. Now, hope has been renewed by the efforts of our interim superintendent. Families and staff are so stressed post-pandemic. Did you consider the instability and low morale of the district before thrusting us into a process we didn't ask for? It seems as though you all top-down decided to move forward without even asking the question, is now the right time? Leadership is not following some imaginary rule book that you haven't been honoring in the past. It's asking the right questions, understanding your mission, and engaging your constituent and stakeholders. There are many talented and resourceful members in this community you could have turned to find a fair solution to our superintendent situation. As it stands, we are at a meeting looking at incomplete research and was not even promoted. How is that transparency? We also see the research does not acknowledge all the feedback about the concerns on the process, which undoubtedly happens when outside consultants are hired who are most invested in getting paid than sharing the truth. For many reasons, families have no choice but to unionize. There are already many groups and amazing individuals who have been advocating continuously in this district, and I want to acknowledge and thank them for all their hard work. The hope is by coming together, we can be stronger. Will the Board of Education engage us and most importantly, represent us? Again, thank you for listening. I know this isn't an easy message to receive. I know many of you, and I know you are wonderful people and want to do good work, and thank you for your service. I know it takes a lot. I do have one very important question I would very much like answered. Will our newly elected officials be able to screen and select candidates, and will they get to be a part of deciding on the final superintendent? Thank you for your time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Steve Lanham.
Steve
Yeah,
Lamb.
give it 1 second first. Go ahead. Mr. Lacy wants to give it. You want me to answer? I can't. To the question you just asked, the incoming board members have been a part of the process, and they also have been a part of the interview. So yes, we have been including them along the way.
And if the goal is to actually make the selection in January, they will have been sworn in by then, yeah.
Okay, back to you.
Steve Lanham, 15 Gate Street, Dayton, Ohio. Big shout out to all the student athletes. I know they're gone, but some pretty impressive records and accomplishments that they had. Kudos to all the parents and especially the coaches for giving their time. Again, my name's Stephen Lanham, and I'm honored to stand here before you as a staff representative of AFSCME Ohio Council 8. Approximately a year and a half ago, I assume the responsibility of representing the SRO unit out of ASME Local 101 DPSU, Dayton Public Service Unit. Today, my aim is to draw your attention to the unsung heroes of Dayton Public Schools, our security resource officers. SROs are not just guardians. We are advocates for the students, faculty, and communities we serve. We play a multifaceted role as protectors, therapists, problem solvers, and shoulders to lean on. When others retreat, we run in. We handle the good, the bad, and the ugly. We deter and stop fights and tirelessly work to prevent crime to keep our students and faculty safe. Many of our SROs are not only from this area, but also attended Dayton Public Schools for most of their lives, and are now back as public servants, serving our schools and communities. This position isn't for the lighthearted, but for those who genuinely care about the Dayton Public School District. The responsibilities of the SROs have expanded significantly, and our members have embraced these changes without any resistance. I want the board to understand that we are seeking a fair union contract, not only for the school board, but for the SROs that we have employed. Our negotiating team is ready to return to the table, and we are ready to continue building a positive culture, promote better communication, continue to be committed to the district in protecting our students and staff, serve our district with competency, and again, most importantly, collaborate with all of you. Despite the upcoming challenges, the security resource officers will remain steadfast in their obligation to continue keeping our students, faculty, and community safe. I thank you for your time, and we look forward to being back at the bargaining table.
David Israti.
Thank you for your comments.
David Israti, 113 Bonner Street. I appreciate very much what the consultants have come in here to do. However, they left off what they should have said at the end of their presentation, so I thought I'd read it for you. The Alma Group has come to Dayton with the task of helping the school board see what's right out in plain sight. An amazingly talented leader who actually knows what he's doing. The search does not need to continue, nor will we be able to supply candidates of the quality or abilities of Dr. Lawrence, because to apply should be hopeless. Any applicant won't have the institutional knowledge, the community respect, the dedication, drive, and love that Dr. Lawrence has for his community. We respectfully thank the board for asking us here, but to continue with this process would be an insult to the taxpayers and to Dr. Lawrence, whom, by the way, we can find a higher paying position in any other district in this country in a heartbeat. Dayton should be lucky to have one of its own ready and willing to serve. We didn't hear that, but it's pretty clear that for the last 6 years, this board has been asleep at the wheel. You saw one of the number one things was attraction and retention of qualified instructors. Dr. Lawley wasn't able to do that. You saw academic progress. In less than 5 months, Dr. Lawrence has led this district's third grade scores higher than what Dr. Lawley was able to do in a complete school year. Dr. Lawley couldn't make the buses run on time, and if you know anything about history, that was Mussolini's claim to fame, but he could make the buses run on time. Well, Dr. Lawrence has made the buses run on time. I don't really know who you think is going to apply for this position unless you fire Dr. Lawrence and clear him out of the way. Last time, I saw you hire Rhonda Kaur, and we saw how that turned out after your big search. This is sort of one of those positions where you've got a star quarterback, and whether you want to play him or you want to bench him. And I'm going to quote Dr. Gabriella Pickett of what I think should be done, because she said this about Dr. Lawrence, and I'd like to say it about all of you who continue to hire Dr. Lawley. If I had a magic wand, I'd make her go away or make you go away right now, because hiring Lawley over and over and over was a disaster. You have not subjected Dr. Lawrence to she was never subjected to this kind of nitpicking that you've done with Dr. Lawrence. And if she had been, she would have been gone long ago. This board is responsible for the situation we're in, and this board has the chance to make it right. And
That's your time, Mr. Edlerati.
I advise you to take this into advisement.
Elizabeth Belsalquist.
Hello, it's Elizabeth Velasquez, and it's 84 Linden Avenue. So I'll get right into it. It's not that we disagree with a superintendent search in principle, and it's not that our support for Dr. Lawrence is blind support. He may have our support, but he certainly will not be free of our criticism and our critique when warranted. But you have to think about how this whole thing comes across to us. There are several parents who felt Dr. Lally caused a lot of harm in this district, while at the same time giving off the I know best attitude. But to many of us, she didn't know best. And when the board continued to support her, appeared to continue to support her, giving her a raise, giving her an extra year, we really became flabbergasted. And just trust in the board was shot. So then, next, there was this internal hire from the district, the interim superintendent, Dr. Lawrence. But refreshingly, many parents in the district who'd been frustrated for so long really liked him, even became excited about him. His approach felt a lot more grassroots, right off the bat. So there, as a result, there was a buzz kind of began to surround him. So we thought, did someone on the board finally have a pulse on what frustrated parents wanted? Was this a fluke? Whatever it was, many of us felt a newfound excitement about the future of the district. Then we hear the board opens up this search for a new superintendent. Remember, trust is already shot. So hearing that didn't come across as, great, they want to know what we think. It was more like, what is wrong with these people and why, and what are they trying to pull? And yes, many of us have partial pictures, but still something isn't right. When the board's attempt at transparency comes across as manipulation, something is off. So what's emerging in the community now is what we're calling a DPS family union. We want to develop a model that allows us to have agency so that we can help develop policies and approaches that are evidence-based on what is best for our children in this district, in this city. So this is about increasing quality and love of learning for our children. This is about good teachers and principals being trusted and supported, and parents having impact. So the question that I've been thinking about that's on my mind is, why do you think the community's trust in the board is so low? Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have any other speakers?
Heather Atkinson.
Hi there, good evening. My name is Heather Atkinson. I'm a parent of two DPS kids, 232 Park Drive. And I'm here tonight to be in solidarity with other parents who are organizing in the district. Parent organizing works, and it's essential, we think, for the success of the district overall. We actually had a nice victory this year with some parent organizing at our school, River's Edge, to get extended time at lunch, because many students were talking about how stressful it was for them to have such little time to eat their food and were coming home hungry. And so we've had some wind at our backs just achieving an organizing victory just even at our own school. And I'm new to this process of the superintendent search, and I've just been glad to be recruited by other informed parents to really get myself more educated on this really important topic. One question I have is, the information that was presented tonight was very useful, and I'm wondering how that's going to be shared out to parents across the district. And then one other issue that I wanted to bring to Dr. Lawrence and the board's attention is, I'm also the parent of a child in special ed in Dayton Public Schools. And the process of navigating getting my son an IEP and the services he needed was quite difficult. And I will say, I'm a parent with a lot of privilege. I have privilege of race, of education, of a flexible job, and I can't imagine having gone through trying to get an IEP for my child if I had to work two jobs, or if I was a single parent, or didn't have all the things that I have at my disposal. And so I think, although I know that it wasn't on the survey, special ed is a really key area where I think DPS has a lot of growth and needs a lot of parent advocacy and, attention in this area. So I appreciate your time tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Go ahead, Dr. Lawrence.
Hey, thank you so much. I appreciate that. We have just promoted Shelley Dinsmore. She's the new Executive Director of Office of Exceptional Children, and we're going to have her reach out to you tomorrow. Can someone take her information?
Do you have any other speakers?
No.
Madam President, if
Go
I
ahead.
may, at this point, there's something that I would like, I think it's pertinent for us as a board to address right now. I have gotten a significant amount of feedback about the calendar change that we made a few weeks ago, and I think this is a good opportunity for us to discuss it. I think the desire that we had to give parents a little bit of a breathing space and to provide professional development for teachers was well-intentioned. I think that the mistake that we made was in not giving parents enough notice. And I would just like to solicit my colleagues' feedback at this time about how we should approach that in the future. I personally think that doing it with so little notice, even though it was a week and a half, and I remember Board Member Sampson at the time, you wanted to expedite it, because we would have been cutting it a lot closer if it had been originally as planned. But seeing as how I've gotten a significant amount of feedback about this over the past few weeks, I wanted to give the board an opportunity to maybe discuss that and go over how we would do it differently in the future.
I will say, for me personally, I think our internal team, we're going to need you guys because we kind of rely on the post that you give us on that one, because I've also gotten feedback also from internal staff that have children in our district that had to make plans for their children and be at professional development. I mean, when we do make those type of changes, we also have to account for childcare for individuals. I know that helps our internal staff. I'm not really sure. I'm not sure how our external staff, or not staff, our internal parents that have like that younger age is the biggest issue that I've heard that feedback on, not being able to find childcare or having to adjust your work schedules. So I don't know, honestly. Dr. Lawrence?
Yeah, I'm gonna take responsibility for that as the interim superintendent. We got the calendar. We got started late. I got started in July. We should have we had the idea around more professional development because I think that's really needed for teachers and staff. And we didn't. By the time we finally got through this process, got our team on board, and then suggested the additional calendar days, it was late. So we take responsibility for that. Going forward, we got to do a faster job, better job of that. While I was out on that professional development day, I heard comments and stories about childcare, and we're going to put something in place actually in general for childcare for when we have professional development. We probably always should have done that, and we'll definitely do that going forward when we think about professional development days and teachers, because they may not have that support. So we certainly should have got ahead of that, and we didn't. If we're fortunate enough to be here next year, trust me, we'll be ahead of it.
Anybody else have anything? Go ahead.
I mean, I appreciate the input, I really do, and I think that, we learn as we go, and we clearly should have had some foresight there with regard to your needs, and you have my commitment that we will be more intentional about those approaches and those considerations, and I thank you for your reflection.
Anyone else? All right, Vice President Smith, I believe you wanted to call the AMA group back. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you for coming out. Reflecting on some of the presentation, and definitely wanted to hear kind of what, because we added public hearing and got to hear that, and I'm glad to be able to get that, but I definitely had some questions. First off, I would ask, in your opinion, in your consultant opinion, with the number of respondents that we have to some of these surveys, to some of these community conversations, would you think that is a fair number to have a good assessment, or would you suggest that there should have been or should be more conversations to try to include more voices at the table?
Yeah, I think this is a fair representation, both in the surveys and in the meetings that we had. One of the things we look for on the ALMA team is whether or not the voices that are coming out in the survey are remarkably different from the conversations that we've had. The themes have been so true and consistent in every single conversation that we feel what we have here is well representative of where your community is on these different issues.
Okay, now, my next question would be, and there's no offense or anything like that, where would that thought come from that the voices that we have fully represents the DPS community?
I'm sorry, I don't understand the question.
From what you said, that what you have that was gleaned from what we got in here, what, in your opinion, makes it say that this is representative of the entire DPS community?
So the demographics are more similar to the city of Dayton than the district. However, what we saw coming out was even representation of community members, of students, of caregivers, and your staff. So we kind of start with who made up the representative. So if the demographics had been wildly different from the Dayton community or Dayton Public Schools, we would have been concerned, but it wasn't. And then we had over 21 conversations, and the feedback is just very similar across every different type of group that we met with over the course of the search. So that's what leads us to our conclusion. Now, we had lots of different opportunities to participate, and if there is a group that felt unheard, we would always be welcome to include that conversation, have that conversation. But in response to the outreach that we did, the feedback we've gotten is that the participation is on par with previous district efforts, and so that also leads us to that conclusion here.
Okay, and then I do have a question on if there is a group or groups that feel that they have not been heard in this process up to now, is there an opportunity for them to reach out to you now?
Absolutely, anytime.
Okay, that is good. Then following up, and probably one of this came out of also hearing some of the community, and from what I've heard around, what has been the feedback loop for parents that have been involved in these conversations so far?
Well, the process we agreed to was that we would come and share at a public board meeting our report, which is what we're doing tonight. I believe there is a place on the Dayton Public Schools website where updates on the search are continuously being shared. This presentation will certainly be shared on that website and wherever board materials are published as well.
Okay, then, sorry, I got a bunch of questions. So when I'm looking at this also, I see where we have numbers of participants. How are we looking at those, and are we making sure that we're separating those? So for instance, if I was a parent and I came to an in-person meeting, and then me and my children were also at the online meeting, how are we counting those?
We're not. We're just giving you the numbers of who showed up. So people were allowed, for the community gatherings, people could have come to more than one meeting if they wanted to.
And so would that number be reflected in here as them as coming to more than one meeting, or would we have not counted them as coming to another meeting?
Well, that's possible for the community gatherings, but most of the groups were staff groups, union leaders, teachers, principals, administrators, central office leaders. So there wasn't a lot of repeat in the majority of our groupings.
So then you are saying, though, that if I came to the in-person and I was on the Zoom, it is a possibility that I'm counted in here twice?
That is possible, yes.
Okay.
If I may ask a question right there real quick.
Yes.
With the number of individuals, what percentage do you think of individuals actually came out, even if it's double counted comparative to our enrollment numbers? I believe we're just at 13,000 enrolled. 12,500. Percentage-wise, are we even at 5% of participation?
Well, the thing is that the participation was by different groupings and community gatherings and all of that. So
I just
think
add them all up. If we just one overarching number, are we?
I don't know. I'd have to do the math and come back to you on that.
You got a guess?
I don't. Sorry. I'd really have to look at the student numbers, the caregivers numbers, the teachers and staff numbers, and give you that so I can follow up with the board and give you what the percent of each group potentially was.
Go ahead, back to you.
Okay.
I guess my question would be, does it feel like the feedback is different from what you expected? Because as elected officials, you tend to be very familiar with what the constituents are feeling. And everything we heard was also consistent with what you all were sharing. So I'm just wondering if the line of questioning is stemming from a concern that there's a subset of the community wasn't heard that would have a different point of view than what we shared tonight.
Board Member Lacy?
Okay, as someone who studied statistics, if you want a statistically accurate representation of how the community feels, you would have to do random sampling. And we did not do random sampling on purpose. We did not ask you to do random sampling. And we probably would have had to have hired a company that does do random sampling, or a group of statisticians. And one of the main reasons we didn't decide to find out how the community feels through random sampling is because we would have excluded, by random sampling, we would have excluded a lot of people who we want to hear. We open this up to those that want to, that have strong enough feelings to come out and tell us, or they could have, or however, the very different methods of telling us how they feel about the district. And yeah, so I think if you wanted a truly accurate representation of the answers to those questions, you need to do random sampling. But I don't think, for many reasons, we're not going to do random sampling.
And I just want to say, just to answer your question, the feedback is consistent on what I've heard throughout the community on that part. I want to address something else that I heard from one of the public speakers. The board, I believe in January of 2023, January of 2023, had made the informal decision that we were going to go through a search process. So this was not a last minute thing on our part. I know that people don't really get to see the whole picture of things that occur behind here and all that, but it is something that we had already, actually we started in 2022 talking about making that official. Board Member Reiner was actually the one that spearheaded it and tried to push us to start so early. In October, correct, of 2022. So that part right there, I think the other thing I wanted to address regarding the notice of the AMA group coming out, we did have a special meeting where they did give us a brief update last week, which that was posted online. this was posted in the time frame that has been on there. And I will say personally, if you ever feel like you need more information, I respond to every email that I get. And if you feel like you aren't knowing those things, please shoot an email, and I can do whatever I can if you feel like there is a gap in transparency here, because we followed all the things that we do in the normal course of business to get information out, and we've even done some extra when it comes to this one. So I don't know why individuals, I want to make sure that you don't feel like you're missing something, honestly. And if there is something I can do to help with that, shoot me an email. I will get you the response you need in that one. But to your question, the feedback has continued to come back as a mix for us. There are, even in the board survey that we put out ourselves, the feedback was mixed. It is a good balance, and I think as a board member, one of the things, and as a professional, not just as a board member, as a professional, for any high-profile position, you hire the best candidate, and the best candidate comes out when they go through the process. It is something that we have done very well, I think, as a collective group of trying to rid our district of people just being placed in positions. We took a stance on principals being hired and internal candidates not getting the opportunity. We've constantly questioned the HR agenda, no matter who sits up here. We go through a lot to make fairness a part of our hiring process, which in education is different than any other field. So I do understand that, again, if you don't see the whole picture, as a collective, we have worked very hard to make this a place where people who are qualified have a chance to compete and get the jobs that are offered here from every position in the district, not just the lead position in the district. And for me, that has been very important, because people should have a chance to have or to apply and interview and try to sway individuals of why they are the best candidate for a position that they meet all the qualifications for. I think you had something.
Yes, and I'm going to take it back to where I was. First, I'll say for me, I don't think that I would have needed us to go through a whole random sampling approach. I appreciate that, though, Mr. Lacy. I also don't think that I would say the feedback is the same. And I would also say, just even as an elected official here, that having a pulse on the community is different for who you are and what communities you're around and what people you are around. All 7 of us probably have a different pulse on different areas of the community. And so I would say it would be unfair to assume that any of us would have a general assumption on how the community feels, because there's just no way of being in those spaces. I don't think anyone on this board really can come up and say, I know what the DPS community feels. For me, I'm looking at, in totality, if I look at a number of 12 students in a district of over 12,000 students, or if I look at understanding that we had 1 in-person session and 1 Zoom session. So I'm saying my whole line at first would you think that there is a need to get more voices, or would that small number of voices be a fair representation? I get my own feedback, which, I talk to people all the time, and it's been varied. I think it runs the gamut of, this is very needed, this is a waste of time. I get that, and there's no way to really hone in on that. As public servants, I try to just get the information. And I try not to put a weighted score on where it comes from. It can come from my community, it can come from my neighbor, it can come from somebody who lives in Dayton but wouldn't send their kids to Dayton Public Schools. So I think there's a whole difference when you get into that, even when you break into these subgroups. These subgroups have different leanings, they have different reasonings. I'm talking to a group of parents, it is a lot different than talking to a group of business leaders or a group of people in downtown who do not care and would not send their kids to Dayton Public Schools and would not know what's going on in Dayton Public Schools. I think their feedback is much different, and so I look at all those things differently. So that's where my thing is. My thing isn't saying that I don't think that this lines up with what comes out from the community. My saying is just looking at how, and as we go through this process, as we continue this process, if that is what we're going to do, is how do we make sure that we're involving our community in a way that they feel like it's transparent, like they feel like they're being involved, and it's not okay, we have a session, check off, we've talked to these parents. All right, we have another session, check that off, we've talked to these parents, and whoever showed up, glad you showed up. Because also, if we just had a conversation about people who were put in a situation because we had a day off and it threw their schedules off, then I look at that, then what does that do when we say we're having a public meeting on this day? That is the only day that we're going to have it. But we just apologized to people for having a day off and it messed up things. So understanding there are people who, if we have something on a Monday afternoon or a Monday evening, they can't come. So if we're saying that we're trying to get the voices of these people, and if they care enough, then they're going to speak, that is not always true because people's lives still come first. And so looking at, as we move through this, doing everything that we can and everything that we can do possible to make sure that we're putting our parents, our community members first and not making them have to conform and fit to our schedule, and then saying this is the data that we got from the people that were able to fit into our schedules. That is all I'm saying. And that is what I would want to sit with as we move through. If we're going to do this, I would like that piece, because as a parent, I know that there are times when things happen, I just can't go. I can't be there that time. That doesn't mean I don't care. It doesn't mean I don't have any stake. It doesn't mean I have an opinion. But I think that as we move through, as me sitting in this role, it gives me a better view when I look at it, and I can wholeheartedly say we did everything we could to make sure that people are there and giving their voices.
Thank you. I just want to highlight the fact that this is probably the first time that we had the voices of 68 students taken in consideration when planning choosing our next interim superintendent. So, yeah. There were 98 people from the community that were not caregivers or students that gave their input. So, I think we have given people a lot more options that they had before. And of course, this is something that we can work on, but I think that we have taken in consideration voices that were not heard before. Thank you.
Anyone else? I will reiterate again that anyone in this community can always email any person on this board. Our emails are online. If you ask someone, they will give them to you. You can click on them, and we will forward whatever you have to the consultants as well. So there are, and you can just send them a message directly if you feel like you have not been heard in this process, or that there is a perspective that has not been brought forward in this process. This process is still occurring right now, and take advantage of it. I mean, we cannot do more in a sense of you got to tell us and you got to connect in any way you can. Actually, you can, I would go as far as to say if there's anyone in this district, they will send it to us too. They send us a lot of messages. So if you have something, you feel like that you have been left out, you are not able to attend the in-person or the online, even if you didn't watch this video, but someone told you, like, if you send a message about something, that they will send it and they will consider it, feel free to take that step. If you see us at the grocery store, you see us somewhere out, tell us. We share it all back. I think that, I don't know any more that we can do, but tell you, you can contact us with that stuff and we will get it in for consideration here. Anything else before?
Yeah, I'll just make one last comment. Mr. Smith, I appreciate your point of view, and I want you to know that we really believe it at Alma when we say this is what we're about as well. So there was great care done in making meetings and opportunities to communicate as open and as broad as possible. And you have another opportunity to engage community, and it's at your finalist stage of interviewing. So really want to go on the record to say, even if it's a sole finalist, you should allow your community to interview your candidates and give you the feedback before you appoint your leader.
Thank you. I've appreciated the work that you guys have done, and I'm very impressed with everything that's happening in this process that it is many of our first time ever doing, so. Joe, you've been around the block, so he got it. But thank you, I appreciate you.
Thank you.
All right, Dr. Lawrence, your recommendations.
Thank you, Dr. Goodwine. Thank you, Dr. Goodwine. The 48-hour rule, A, and then human resources, B for a vote. Can we move that until after executive session?
That's fine.
Thank
Go
you
ahead.
so much. Human Resources C, I recommend the approval of the following Human Resources DEA resignations after July 10th.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions? I have one. Since these are resignations, is there a reason that they have to be voted on tonight instead of the business meeting?
No, not at all. We're indifferent.
Oh, what's the name on here? I'm kind of sad to see go. Go ahead, Justin.
Do you want me to, I can take back.
It don't matter. I mean, they gone. They're
Have we always had, I thought it was just teachers. But we also have,
Oh, a temporary, yeah. Is that new? Because this, should that last one be on there?
and that's, it's a term.
So can we take it back? Can whoever put you guys withdraw, like we get that corrected since there's really no rush?
All right, thanks.
It's not my motion, so.
Madam President, can I make a motion to withdraw the motion?
It's just I withdraw my motion.
I withdraw my motion.
And I withdraw my second.
Okay,
Yeah, we can do it next week.
yeah. And if we could just get that one corrected, because they shouldn't have been on there. Okay, your next recommendation?
I recommend that you take a look at the contracts, and we'll take questions.
Give you guys a moment. Any questions?
I do.
Go ahead, Mr. Nichols.
I see that Miami Valley Child Development is ending soon. I wanted to really know what did it do and how would we figure out a replacement for that?
Mr. Nichols, wonderful question. We rent out part of that space, and we're going to be taking that space back so that we can have rooms for our own preschoolers, because we don't have enough space for our own preschoolers. So we're ending that space, and the people who are going to take those places are going to be our children and our teachers. So thank you for asking that.
Thank you. Any other questions? I have one about the come-in sales and service. Generators throughout the district, is this for all generators and inspections? And about how many do we have actively, like how many generators do we actually have?
I'm going to ask the business manager. She can speak to that.
Got to come to the mic.
Our new business manager.
Good evening. Can you repeat the question, please?
The coming and sales services for generator maintenance and inspection, just a question on the amount of generators we have through the district, and if this covers all of them, or if there's just like a certain portion.
So this is an increase to the PO for additional services. It could be towards cost increases. I have to dive in a little bit differently, but we have generators on the majority of our buildings.
Which ones don't we have them on?
I have to go back and check. I'm not sure if we have. No, we just put one in level 2, so it could be all of them at this point. I would say probably buildings that are not in use, Gardendale High, those buildings.
Okay. Thank you. Any other questions? All right, your next recommendation?
Our next recommendation is, the board, please take a look at the consultant contracts for review.
Are there any questions?
I have a question, Madam President.
Go ahead.
The consultant agreement for providing professional mentorship, what kind of services are we going to get for that amount?
For Gary Griffin?
Mhm.
Yeah, Gary Griffin is going to be providing support to all of our new middle school and elementary school principals, and operational support, and also teacher development support, and also he's going to be there as a sounding board for sometimes you as a principal don't always feel comfortable having certain conversations with your immediate supervisor. Sometimes you just need someone who is not in the loop to be able to talk to. And Gary Griffin, coach, I hope you didn't see that. He's my basketball coach as a ninth grader. Gary Griffin was in the district for a long time, well respected, and we're excited to possibly have him back if the board agrees, and it follows a pattern or a trend for us. We did the same thing at the elementary level, and we want to do this at the middle school and high school level as well.
Okay, thank you.
Question, the current ones, not necessarily about this one too, like how are you guys going to be able to measure the effectiveness of the consultants? Because I believe this is probably like the 6th or 7th one that we'll be bringing in now.
Yeah, we're going to use narrative inquiry. We're going to have the principals give written feedback on their experiences. So it's difficult to do it quantitatively. It's easier to do it qualitatively.
Can we have an update plan for the current ones just to see how that's going? Because it's been, what, about 3 months now?
I think something along those lines. Absolutely, you can.
And the funding source for this one, is this not possible to take out of somewhere else since it is professional development?
I don't know if Title II-A can support this based on other allocations that we already have. I can get back with you between now and next week, and I can check with the chief academic officer, but I think a lot of our Title II-A budget is already encumbered, or was encumbered from before with the previous administration. And when you count what we've done, there may not be funds there.
I know it was encumbered, but have we actually spent it?
No. No, we've not.
Is it, so my overarching question is the things that we have encumbered for professional development, can we look at where we are with those? And if we're not going to spend them on the things that they're encumbering for, and it's possible to pay some of these consultant fees from those ones, can those be the priority in lieu of general funds?
Absolutely.
Board Member Lacy looked like he was about to say something.
Something's encumbered. It's spent in my.
Not necessarily.
Okay, I mean,
It's just encumbered.
I guess like an open PO where you haven't is encumbered
Yeah,
technically.
that
Okay.
is correct.
Anyone else? All right, your next recommendation?
My next recommendation is that the board review our education affiliation agreement with Ohio State University and the College of Nursing. And its purpose is to help kind of create a pipeline for nurses for us. We are down nurses, and we also have a nursing force that's getting close to retirement, several.
Any questions?
Yes.
Go ahead, Mr. Nichols.
I want to know, how would our students benefit from this agreement? And currently, our Meadowdale pathway, with our help, we are currently missing a health teacher for around the start of the school year. And I was wondering, will this Ohio State collaboration help with that?
So your first question, how will this help and support students? Nurses are vital to the support of each building in terms of giving medication, in terms of dealing with students who are ill during the day and students who don't have regular health care. The nurses actually provide that in the buildings as a support. Also, social emotional wellness. The nurses end up being counselors too, and mental health counselors. They do have a lot of conversations with lots of kids. And especially at the elementary school, when we're talking about medications, we definitely need to have a nurse there. We're short-staffed there, so we're trying to do whatever we can to fill in spaces. And as it relates to your health teacher, I got an email about that, and we are working on that right now. So that because there are students who may not be able to be certified if we don't fix that.
Yes, that's a real
So thank
issue.
you for your concern.
One question on this one, about how many, because these would be students that are in the nursing major at Ohio State, correct?
Yes.
About how many students are we predicting will actually be in our schools?
I'd have to ask Tara Boone that. I can get back to you. I can send you an email.
Okay. All right, your next recommendation?
My next recommendation is, I believe that concludes my recommendations.
That's one,
Oh,
it's one, but it's
yeah, that's right.
executive content.
I better get that. Yeah, I would ask that the board scan the agreement, the settlement agreement, and then we can, if you need further clarification, we can talk about it in the executive session.
All right, Madam Treasurer, your first, Madam Treasurer, your first recommendation?
Yes, all my recommendations are for review only. Monthly financial for November. This is a placeholder because we're going to have a finance meeting on Thursday, and it will come for the board on Tuesday. The next one is approval of board minutes for November. I don't think you will have a question on this one. The next one is then and now. We have some. Let's look at it, and if you have any questions, we'll answer.
Are there any questions? My only question is on the final form licensing fee. Are we just now paying this? Because I believe this came about March, was when Final Forms, the academic side was introduced to us for this school year?
Yeah.
And that's why it's in then and now.
Yeah, I mean, that's my question. like-
Yeah, because it's already been encumbered.
So my second question, where's the gap between when it was approved and when it got here? And I've heard there've been some issues with this vendor itself. Are we looking to assess if we're gonna continue with them in the next school year? And if we're not, what that pivot plan is gonna be?
Hey, Dr. Goodwine, we can find out and get back to you on the gap of what happened between March and now, for sure. And as it relates to Final Forms, this has been a relationship with Final Forms that has been a struggle for our participant, our staff members that are in the field and at central office, and for some of our parents. And so we are we're putting together a 2024 list of things we want to bring back and things we don't. And I think we were in a committee that I mentioned this is one of those, it is possible this is the final year for Final Forms. Our new IT director, that whenever they get here, we want to run it by them. We don't want to make a decision without them, but we are trying to get rid of as many programs that we have that are overlapping and not working.
And that's just for the academic side of Final Form, not the athletic?
Yes, just for that, yes, yeah.
Okay. Any other questions? All right, your next recommendation?
Yeah, the next one is purchase requisitions. These are from all the district departments, and let's look at it, and we'll answer any questions.
Are there any questions from anyone? I just have one on the Hanover. Did they do research for us in the past?
Yeah, I think, yes, Dr. Burton brought this to the district, I believe, 2 years ago. This might be our second or third year, and it's really good.
That was my next question.
It is really,
useful?
really good. We use it a lot.
And the professional development for the HR director, what are we expecting to gain from that?
So we have a consultant group coming. We have a district-wide survey that's out. We're hoping to get better. One of the questions you ask a lot is, do they have an HR background? And there are certain credentials that you can get that are considered the gold standard of credentials in HR, and this is that.
Question, because we passed the policy for professional development and that exceeds that amount, are we looking to take, would that now cap that individual from any additional professional development for the year?
I don't know if it would cap that individual, but we are looking to develop an agreement with legal and the support of the board that suggests that that individual will be with us for at least 3 years, and should they leave before that,
They pay that amount
pay
back?
that back.
Correct.
Yes.
And would you guys have that before the reviews, before the business meeting?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, or even before the individual actually took that time?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yep.
Love investing in people, but love for that investment to stay with us.
Hey, listen, I know you love that after that Disney trip. You
Out here, stay with us.
Stay with us. Stay with us. I can get it across the board.
That group has been working me. All right, Board Member Sampson.
Thank you, Madam President. The Office Depot furniture refresh for Kaiser. Can somebody explain how Kaiser was selected for the furniture refresh, and is there any plans to furniture refresh other buildings? And if so, what does that plan look like?
I can take it from here. Yeah, so Kaiser was in the first phase of buildings built. And so we're going backwards. We're going backwards to the first phase and saying, what are the buildings that have the worst furniture needs? And then looking at it globally, saying, hey, overall, no matter what phase you're in, what are the next set of buildings? So Kaiser in that first set, and Board Member Sampson, a school that was not in the first phase of building for the construction plan for Dayton Public Schools in the mid-2000s, is Dunbar, and they have got to be next up. It is, we have some very serious issues with furniture there. And that's a place that you and I hold near and dear.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much. Thank you, Madam President.
Question on the less than 15,000. The Apple computers, iPads for management staff. I know I've seen these come across during various time out here. Which teams are these for, and are they refreshing or replacing existing equipment?
I had no, I didn't have any contact with the director of IT. I'd have to ask the business manager, or we'd have to get back with you.
You got anything, Ms. Powell?
You want-
All right, we'll see you at the next one. I am excited to highlight, I see the Smart Pass is on here.
Yep.
I will ask, does this include, because I know initially we selected 6 schools, but at our last committee meeting, we asked to increase to 9 schools to make sure all the high schools were on there. Does this PO encompass that increase by chance?
Mr. Williams, can you speak to that? Does this PO encompass that?
Okay.
So we, between now and next week, let us see if we can get that increase. There may be a change when we come back for the business meeting.
Okay.
All right.
All right. Does that conclude your recommendations?
Yes.
Not you. Ms. Kidd, the next agenda item is board travel expense, but there is no information here. Okay. Pursuant to section 121.22G of the Ohio Revised Code, I move that this board go into executive session. This meeting is being held to consider the employment of a public employee. Hold on one second. This is and it should also have on there, and to prepare for, conduct, and review negotiation with employees regarding their compensation or other terms and condition of their employees. Is there a second?
Second.
Move the second. Any questions?
Who seconded it?
Will.
You ain't gotta give me nothing. You got
Okay.
it. You got it. You got it.
All right. Any questions? Seeing none, may we have a vote?
President Goodwin,
Yes.
Mr. Smith,
Yes.
Mr. Sampson,
Yes.
Ms. Wick,
Yes.
Dr. Pickett.
Yes.
Ms. Reinhardt. Mr. Lacy.
Yes.
Mr. Nicholas.
Yes.
8 yeses.
The Adult Transition Unit Program is a program for students with special needs who have graduated from high school and chose to defer their diploma for a year so they can learn job skills and life skills. The goal of the program is for the students to become gainfully employed in the community. Some of the life skills that the students learn are how to write the RTA, they work on communication skills, and they learn how to budget their money. The students are in the program for 1 school year. They start the program in August and end in May. The students learn job skills by volunteering at 3 different sites: Sinclair Community College, the University of Dayton, and the Gospel Mission. At Sinclair Community College and the University of Dayton, the students work in the dining hall where they learn customer service skills, serving customers. They also learn stocking skills and cleaning skills. At the Gospel Mission, the students learn janitorial skills. The majority of the students that complete the program get jobs. Some places that they get jobs at are the hospital, restaurant, grocery stores, and retail stores.
Once the students have had their opportunity to learn the different jobs within food service here at the college, then it is beneficial for them. They are able to go out and market themselves to the different food service employers in the Restaurant Association to let them know that they have worked in front of the house, washing tables and greeting with the customers, and vice versa in the back of the house, how to do all the stock and inventory all the way to closing out at the end of the day, taking and mopping and doing all the trash and everything. So as a benefit for them as they apply within the restaurants, then that gives them the ability to let them know that they've been trained in those duties. As a contractor here at Sinclair, we have enjoyed tremendously the students coming in on a weekly basis, helping us with our day-to-day operations. And I think the benefit and the partnership that we have with the Dayton Public School Systems is a wonderful program, and we hope that it continues on so we can have these students be able to go out into the general population and get jobs.
Goodwill Easter Seals are proud partners with Dayton Public Schools in helping them enrich their lives for better futures. As a job developer, we assist the students with developing work-related skills for competitive employment within the community. We meet with them each Friday. In addition, we discuss and demonstrate potential job openings, get to know each person and what their interests are. We discuss and demonstrate potential job openings, help them research that particular position, that company, and see if it's a good match for each individual that we serve.
This transition program with Dayton Public Schools have given students with special needs the opportunity to achieve their transition goals by becoming gainfully employed in the community, and also it helps them achieve their independent living goals, which will make them successful throughout life.
The All City Band is a band made up of 3 high schools in Dayton, which will be Belmont High School, Thurgood Marshall High School, and Paul Laurence Dunbar High School. We bring our bands together so that we are bringing back bands in the public schools of Dayton.
Well, I've seen a lot of people in bands, and that got me interested in music, and I've been around music my whole life. I was in choir during my elementary years, and that really got me into actually, being in music.
Dr. Lally has been nothing but supportive of us. Music in the schools helps scholarships. It helps them to travel to see outside of the state. Being in the band has allowed them these opportunities to go see this other state or go to Washington, D.C. or Texas or even out of the country.
Band's given me the opportunity to be able to go to college and have scholarships, and I've got to see a lot, especially this year, being able to be with the other schools. I've got to learn from the other band directors. You get to experience a lot, and you get to have that family and connection in band, and you get to just let go and just play.
My experience is always nervous. I'm always nervous when it comes to being in the games because I have a lot of people watching me, but what brings me back is the fact that I know I'm going to make these people actually love the music that they hear.
Meeting the students from the other schools, from the different bands, it's very fun. It's a fun experience. You get to like clash your personality with other people. You get to like express yourself through music. You get to have fun, watch the game.
I have some of the best students. I really admire their tenacity, their dedication, and I just admire that they come in willing to work to help build this program. For them, they're just like, well, this is fun. Let's just enjoy the moment, and they have made the most out of it. I just really applaud these students for what they do.
My name is Angela Shelton. I am the assistant principal at Fairview Elementary in Dayton Public Schools. So I enjoy working with Dayton Public Schools because of the interactions that I have with students on a day-to-day basis. It is those small opportunities to make connections and help students to self-regulate and getting their bodies ready to learn that I appreciate the most. I appreciate and I love working with the teachers in Dayton Public. Dayton Public has the most phenomenal teachers. I've learned so much from them during my years here in Dayton Public. And so it's those things, the students and the teachers and the connections that makes coming here. Everything that I hold true to me, everything that I value closely, I have actually been grounded in that through DPS. To be specific, when we talk about being equitable, it was through DPS where I was able to join the Montgomery County Equity Fellows and to really start digging in and having deep conversations around equity. I got that through DPS. When I think about social emotional learning, which is very dear to my heart, I got that through DPS, through Conscious Discipline and our partnership with Learn to Earn and Preschool Promise. When you talk about instructional strategies and approaches to learning, I dug deep in that through DPS. So I am the professional that I am right now because of the initiatives and the strategies and the approaches that are grounded in Dayton Public Schools.
My name is Gary Armstrong. I am the assistant principal at Kemp Elementary School, graduating from Dunbar High School, having attended DPS since kindergarten. DPS has had a great positive impact on my entire family and given me and several members of my family rewarding careers. I love impacting the lives of students, male and female. Mentoring and coaching has been a passion of mine my entire career. I enjoy being a role model for students. The benefits of working in DPS are endless. Dayton Public Schools provides a great place for employees to develop as professionals and positively impact the families and students of our community.
My name is Brandon Stillimer, and I'm the automotive teacher here at Ponitz. I'm actually a Ponitz automotive graduate. After I graduated, I went to the military and became a mechanic for the military. After that, I came back and went to college and ended up coming here to teach at the program I graduated from. In this program, I learned the basic skills like tools, theories, and principles of how brakes work, how engines operate.
My sophomore year, we took motors. We broke them all down, put them right back together. My junior year, we did electrical. I loved electrical.
Pretty much the basics right now: oil change, tire rotations, tire changes, how engines work, performance.
They're learning how to use the machines in here, the lifts, tools, and everything. I've learned how to break down engines, fix cars. I've learned how to do electrical. I'm in electrical now.
This is my first time working on a project car, like kind of by myself, but it's not a one-man job at all. You need a team.
So I think the biggest benefit is not only do they get to learn at an earlier age, but also they can take the skills they learn and get employment earlier. This program, we partner with a lot of really good partners, and we can get them into job placement. They're starting to build their networking earlier in life than wait until later.
Everybody can't teach you how to work on a car. Our teachers are here for it to break down and show us what really goes into a car besides the basics.
It's cool to see the progression from when I was here to what the district is now and then what we're looking forward in the future.
Dayton Public Schools have prepared me for my future to be successful in my automotive industry and strive for my dreams.
I want to end up opening my own business and helping other people who are in need of cars or just working on the cars.
Through our advisory committee, we're finding out what the real world needs, and we're building those technicians to get them into what is the current need for the industry.
My day begins with students when I greet them at the front door at 8:15. And then I go to welcome them and help them get out of cars, greet the students. At that time, I kind of touch base with students just to see how they're doing and if there's anything that I can perceive that may need to happen with them or supports that I might need to give them or prepare for them. And then I always do morning announcements. That's something that I started because I think it's important for students to be greeted in the morning. We do the Pledge of Allegiance, and then I always say the vision and mission of East One Elementary so we can get ourselves focused and organized for the day and know what our purpose is and why we're here, both staff, students, and administration.
As a building administrator, it is critical and very important that you make yourself visible so that parents see you interacting with them and their kids. It's very critical that they know that you are there for them, providing support, showing them that you do care, greeting them every morning, saying hello. That's a very important part of the job.
My job as an administrator is to work with the staff to provide everything the student may need during their day and to move them forward and help them grow academically and also as a person. You know, we educate the whole child, you know, their intellect, their social emotional learning. It's all critical. And so children come to us and our job is to help them understand school and love school, not only for the day or the year, but also for a lifetime.
It is critical for principals to have positive relationships with their students. I mean, it gives them a sense of significance, a sense of belonging, a sense of pride that they know who you are and you know who they are. It motivates them, empowers them to want to do well. So when they see you and you're giving them words of wisdom, they want to please. So as a building administrator, those relationships are very important.
What I love most about DPS is the opportunities that we're providing for our students, whether it be academic, sports, all of the extracurricular things that we're providing for our students. DPS seems to be on the right track in gauging what our students need, what our needs are, what the needs are, and providing for those needs.
So I really enjoy being a principal. It is, of all of the things that I've done in education throughout my career, I've been a math teacher, I've been a coach, an instructional coach, I've been an athletic coach, I've been an assistant principal, and now a principal. And I really enjoy being a principal because one of the things that I feel is that I have an opportunity to really see their individual growth, but also then see them grow as a group. I enjoy working with Dayton Public Schools because it is a nice sized school district. You really get to know not just the teachers, but the families, the students, and really your school community. I've been able to work with several families through multiple children, and it's just really nice to have that parental contact and to really get to know our parents and work with them and their families to help our students be successful.
Hey you guys, I'm Wayne Middleton. Too Tall Winston. And we're with the world famous Harlem Globetrotters here at Belmont High School. We just want to thank Dayton Public Schools for having us out here. Come on now.
Hi, my name is Carrie Wilcox. I'm a third grade English Language Arts teacher at Fairview Elementary. I like working as a part of Dayton Public Schools just because I get unique opportunities. I think watching students have those light bulb moments is such a win, but I think also getting the opportunity to share and grow with other teachers and work in collaboration, they've been very innovative, I think, especially during the past couple years. I've gotten a lot of great opportunities to lead in my building, but also I think lead in the Dayton community, and I think they've built me as a leader from the very beginning. I think Dayton has enabled teachers to pivot, especially during the pandemic. I think we all had to learn and grow together to really support our students, and I think Dayton Public really focused on the whole child during that time, looking at how do we feed the kids, how do we close the gaps, and I think they've worked hard to make that happen. Dayton Public Schools is going to offer you an opportunity to grow as a teacher, as an educator. They're also going to give you unique opportunities with students, giving you time to work with students in small groups, making sure that we have classroom setups that are going to support that and support them as educators.
Everything we're teaching in music in Dayton Public Schools goes towards the whole child. So we're helping people, kids not just be better musicians, but be just better people. The skills we're teaching really go to increase literacy with our early learners. We are, just teaching how to focus, how to learn, the actual ability to learn new skills, whether it's literacy, math, social studies, music, art, PE, really any of those.
I think this is awesome. The crowd today amazed me. I didn't know how many people would show up. The children showed up, and then their parents showed up, and some of them even came up and said, "Thank you for doing this." So this is our first adventure out in public since COVID. So we are thrilled that we can stand here and present this.
We have an incredibly talented group of kids here in Dayton Public Schools, and today's just a great chance to celebrate those talents that those kids have.
If we catch them right in kinder and first grade, we can do a lot of good work. Hi, my name is Dr. Nikki. I am an educator. I work with teachers and kids around the country, and I write a lot of books. I've been working in classrooms doing guided math as well as looking at energizers, because there's so much research that says kindergarten, first grade, all of that math is foundational to reading and to math. There's long-term studies that look at what kids were doing in kindergarten with math.
It's so important for kids to build number sense and understand how to play with numbers, especially at an early age, so that they understand that math is about thinking, not just getting answers. I'm Dr. Allison Mello, and I'm a former assistant superintendent, former math specialist, classroom teacher, and curriculum director, and now I'm a full-time math consultant. I'm really excited to be in Dayton Public Schools and working with the classroom teachers, showing them some different routines to get kids excited about learning math.
Going into the schools, I see teachers that are enthusiastic, that are ready to learn, that are already doing wonderful things, and that are trying to improve their practice. So my time here at Dayton Public has been wonderful because I love working with teachers and students.
So this is the game design programming pathway. A lot of it involves some basic, like your basic programming class, your game design class, the IT career field, and then the programming career field is never ending. So, I mean, there's so many opportunities career-wise that kids can really look into and then build upon and get certifications in here to help when they leave here, they're better prepared, and then resume builders are, I mean, they can have as many as they want when it comes to certification, and that looks phenomenal for them. And within this current pathway, I mean, there's endless opportunities for kids when it comes to IT programming, game design. It's been very exciting for the kids that have come through. Some of the stuff we do in here is really cool and very innovative for 21st century learning skills.
I learned so far, I'm learning right now the basics of programming, and
all like functions and all that. And so like I think it's preparing me for the future because like I get to have some experience before I get like thrown out into college or into the real world. And so I could like jump into my career than have to wait and learn after I get out of high school.
I feel like DPS gives students a very big variety of choices that they want to do whenever choosing their pathway. So I feel like they're doing good, like giving students like a large amount of options.
So this is a career field and a pathway that you can come in and you want to enjoy. You'll enjoy it every day and want to come back. And so that's a huge push. And we can make it as relatable and applicable to students' lives as much as possible.
So in Dayton Public Schools, we're really happy to have Project Lead the Way, which is sort of a nationwide STEM program. They've got a whole bunch of different STEM classes, and our goal, we call it Gateway. It's a gateway to high school, right? So we're trying to get kids excited and interested in these different STEM areas, right? Whether it's robotics or engineering or whatever it is. And it doesn't matter exactly what they're doing here. They're learning those skills that you talked about, the 21st century skills, right? Teamwork, collaboration, problem solving. So we're using a lot of technology that is good for them to learn, but the real skills that they're getting is that problem solving and that collaboration, because the technology is going to change, right? And the key is for them to learn those skills.
My favorite part is when the students take ownership. The other day we were doing robots, and a girl who always says, I can't do it, said, Miss Tubbs, look, I did that, I made that robot go. So that was kind of priceless. And I like them seeing the aha moments when they figure out something, especially the girls, when the girls that, aren't really into STEM as much as the boys are. And when they get their robots working and they take ownership and pride in what they're doing and they're excited about it, that's really special to me.
Project Surge is a transition to work program for young adults with disabilities. It is a unique program that is 1 school year in length. During that time, the students will participate in 3 targeted internships based on their interests and strengths. They will acquire competitive, marketable, and transferable skills through their internships. Some of the duties that they might participate in are cleaning, assisting patients and staff, delivering supplies, transporting patients, cooking, fixing things throughout the hospital. And then through these tasks, they learn valuable life skills such as how to handle constructive criticism, teamwork, appropriate communication for the workplace, critical thinking. If a student is committed to finding competitive employment, they will have a job when they are completed with this program. We are with them every step of the way.
My name is Richard Rayford. I am the Senior Executive Director for Dayton Public Schools. So our staff has a very important role into education, which they make sure that the buildings are clean for the students, which helps them to focus more on the education part of school, so they have a better opportunity to learn. DPS has had a huge impact on my family. I've actually had 4 children that graduated from DPS who are successful. 2 are nurse, and 1 is a semi-driver for a big company. I've also had probably 10 nieces and nephews that has attended DPS as well, and I currently have probably about 7 great nieces and nephews that attend Dayton Public Schools. And I enjoy coming into the schools when I see their smiling faces and and they like to see their uncle come in and talk to them and try to help them to gain a better path for their education. Personally, DPS has impacted me both professionally and personally, and I enjoy the opportunity that it has provided. If you enjoy contributing to the education of children, this is a great place to start. There's an opportunity for growth in your success. If you like to advance your career, there's excellent opportunities here for you to advance your career, and I've been here 17 years, and I wouldn't trade any year for working here.
I'm Mr. Frank.
And I'm Fultzy.
And we are
Science Saturdays.
We really like to teach the scientific process by doing experiments live on stage, and we try to show them things they may have not seen before, come up with some creative ways of doing some things and communicating science on lots of different topics.
We are bringing science to a level for everyone, and we want children to know that everyone can be a scientist and they can do science. It's not scary, and it's easy, and it's fun. Hey everybody, we're Science Saturdays, and you can come find us on September 10th or November 12th at 9:30 a.m. at the Engineers Club of Dayton.
And if you want more information, you can find us on Facebook or Twitter at ScienceSat.
My name is John L. Foster. I'm a math teacher here at Ponus CTC, and I'd like to say I am DPS. I enjoy working with my students, helping them to learn what they need to learn for today. I enjoy the interaction. I enjoy that road of discovery along with the students. Help us to get from point A to point B in terms of increasing their knowledge and also increasing their wisdom as well concerning mathematics. Superintendent Lolly and my math supervisor, Dr. Kurt, and of course my wife, and of course my colleagues, my math colleagues, and just my colleagues in general. They give me encouragement. We just like a big family, we just encourage each other. I believe DPS is a good place for anyone to start their career because we have children who are in need of having good mentors, good leaders, good teachers who are willing to show them love to help them to grow, because they might not get that entirely at home, but this will be a second family to them, to get that love and get the knowledge and get the education, the good education that they need to have to go and prosper in this world of ours.
My name is John Houston, and I teach biology at Paul Laurence Dunbar High School with Dayton Public Schools. I've thought a lot about why a young teacher would want to choose to work at DPS, and I think, you know, Dayton has such a rich history of successful people and a lot of creativity, and there's a great spirit in the city of Dayton. What I enjoy most about my job at DPS, I really enjoy working with the students. I like seeing how our students grow as people. What really resonates with me is every time you look across the room, you don't know who the people you see could be, the next doctor, the next lawyer. You know, I envision myself going to the hospital one day and having one of these people working on me, or having one of these students be an attorney that I may have to hire at some point. You know, they're going to be part of tomorrow, and they're really thriving in this high school environment that we've created. We have so many students that just seem on the edge of success. And so if you come to Dayton and you teach in Dayton, you can really help someone find that dream and find that path. You have so many young people with tremendous skill and creativity that just don't know how to project themselves or how to bring that forward. They don't know what they have. And so there's no better place to do that than right here in Dayton.
My name is Mike Manuel, and I teach construction at Ponus CTC. When I first came here, I actually interviewed for, I wanted to do mentoring. And next thing you know, I got an offer in the mail to see if I was interested in the CTE position. That's not what I came here for initially. But for my goals in doing the kind of work that I do in the community, where before I was mentoring kids one-on-one, you know, through my church and in some other areas, but now I mentor my own students. I would think others would probably choose DPS because of the support system. You know, I thought about the same thing with having a charter school and then not really having somebody that can do the counseling or somebody that can do the intervention. With ESL students, there's people here that speak several languages. So a lot of my students live on the east side, they're Africans. They may speak 5 languages, but I don't know too many places that they can come where they actually have ESL teachers that will work with them on learning English to get to the point to where they can actually be proficient. So I think it's a culmination of having the opening their arms for immigrant students and then providing a support system that can help them become successful.
My name is Deidre Mitzoff. I'm an English language specialist. I teach at Wright Brothers Middle School, 7th and 8th grade in Dayton Public Schools. When I talk to other people about my job, I tell them I work with the best adults and I work with the best students. I love who I interact with every day. They push me to become a better person, a better educator. They challenge me, they support me, and that is absolutely the best part of what I do every day. I enjoy getting to work with such diverse students. I have students who are native to Dayton, I have students who are new to Dayton, and I have students who are new to the country. So it's really awesome that we get to learn from one another and grow together. And I try really hard to use my students' knowledge and their lived experiences to help drive what we're learning and what we're doing in the classroom. Every child needs a trusted adult in their life. I try really hard to model that for students and just encourage them as they kind of make their way through life on the path of becoming the best person they can be. I believe that Dayton Public School students deserve the most caring and nurturing environment. I really believe that Dayton Public Schools will continue to grow and to change, and we'll be right there making sure that our students are successful and that they are productive members of society.
My name is Mark Fairhurst. I am the teacher leader or lead teacher at Horace Mann Elementary, and this is my 6th year in this role. DPS is a great place to land for a career. If you want to work in a district with tremendous diversity and with unique challenges in an inner city environment, and you don't want to just choose the path of least resistance and the easiest career where I guess I would call it just putting it on autopilot and expecting your students are all going to be self-learners, this is the place for you. You will have, again, tons of opportunities to work in unique settings with children of diverse backgrounds who have tremendous needs. We all recognize that, we acknowledge that, but we don't steer away from it. We welcome that. We relish the opportunities to demonstrate what a great staff we have and what a great district we have. And time again, I've seen people step up to those challenges and take them on and be a real difference maker in someone's life. When I interviewed for this role, I remember Dr. Lawley, after asking me the interview questions, asking me if I had any questions, and I said yes. Tell me that I will have the opportunity to work closely with staff in a way that will make a difference in their lives. Tell me it's going to be about changing lives, and by extension, helping teachers change children's lives by equipping them to be better at the craft than they were before we met and before we worked through the coaching process. When I get up in the morning, I need to know that what I do professionally makes a difference. And so that motivates me, challenges me to come to work prepared to do the best possible job that I can, regardless of what I'm called to tackle that day.
Remember, we tell you before, there are 4 reasons why you vote. For candidates or issues that benefit you, your livelihood, your family, and your community. No other reason. You don't vote because someone is tall or short, black or white, male or female, Republican or Democrat. You vote those 4 reasons. That takes care of you and your family and your community.
So today is the first time I'm going to be voting for my family. My family is from Mexico, so I'm the first generation from my family. So right now, this is everybody in the background is voting for the first time. It was a very amazing experience. I like that we were crossing like around the bridge, and you know, it was just a very powerful moment where, you know, it's like your first time and you're going to have that as your memory to like, oh, I remember I have to cross the bridge to like vote. If you want to fix something that is really injustice, then your vote really does matter. Like every person votes matters. Voting for the first time is kind of like exciting because, you know, I get to go home and then just tell my parents that I just voted, and then they just seem proud of me because they never experienced like something like this in voting before. So I'm like kind of like giving them like a chance to like, oh, if like something is wrong, I'm able to like make the change.
The Adult Transition Unit program is a program for students with special needs who have graduated from high school and chose to defer their diploma for a year so they can learn job skills and life skills. The goal of the program is for the students to become gainfully employed in the community. Some of the life skills that the students learn are how to write the RTA, they work on communication skills, and they learn how to budget their money. The students are in the program for 1 school year. They start the program in August and end in May. The students learn job skills by volunteering at 3 different sites: Sinclair Community College, the University of Dayton, and the Gospel Mission. At Sinclair Community College and the University of Dayton, the students work in the dining hall where they learn customer service skills, serving customers. They also learn stocking skills and cleaning skills. At the Gospel Mission, the students learn janitorial skills. The majority of the students that complete the program get jobs. Some places that they get jobs at are the hospital, restaurant, grocery stores, and retail stores.
Once the students have had their opportunity to learn the different jobs within food service here at the college, then it is beneficial for them. They are able to go out and market themselves to the different food service employers and the Restaurant Association to let them know that they have worked in the front of the house, washing tables and greeting with the customers, and vice versa in the back of the house, how to do all the stock and inventory all the way to closing out at the end of the day, taking and mopping and doing all the trash and everything. So as a benefit for them as they apply within the restaurants, then that gives them the ability to let them know that they've been trained in those duties. As a contractor here at Sinclair, we have enjoyed tremendously the students coming in on a weekly basis, helping us with our day-to-day operations. And I think the benefit and the partnership that we have with the Dayton Public School Systems is a wonderful program, and we hope that it continues on so we can have these students be able to go out into the general population and get jobs.
Goodwill Easter Seals are proud partners with Dayton Public Schools in helping them enrich their lives for better futures. As a job developer, we assist the students with developing work-related skills for competitive employment within the community. We meet with them each Friday. In addition, we discuss and demonstrate potential job openings, get to know each person and what their interests are. We discuss and demonstrate potential job openings, help them research that particular position, that company, and see if it's a good match for each individual that we serve.
This transition program with Dayton Public Schools have given students with special needs the opportunity to achieve their transition goals by becoming gainfully employed in the community, and also it helps them achieve their independent living goals, which will make them successful throughout life.
The All City Band is a band made up of 3 high schools in Dayton, which will be Belmont High School, Thurgood Marshall High School, and Paul Laurence Dunbar High School. We bring our bands together so that we are bringing back bands in the public schools of Dayton.
Well, I've seen a lot of people in bands, and that got me interested in music, and I've been around music my whole life. I was in choir during my elementary years, and that really got me into actually, being in music.
Dr. Lally has been nothing but supportive of us. Music in the schools helps scholarships. It helps them to travel to see outside of the state. Being in the band has allowed them these opportunities to go see this other state or go to Washington, D.C. or Texas or even out of the country.
Band's given me the opportunity to be able to go to college and have scholarships, and I've got to see a lot, especially this year, being able to be with the other schools. I've got to learn from the other band directors. You get to experience a lot, and you get to have that family and connection in band, and you get to just let go and just play.
My experience is always nervous. I'm always nervous when it comes to being in the games because I have a lot of people watching me, but what brings me back is the fact that I know I'm going to make these people actually love the music that they hear.
Meeting the students from the other schools, from the different bands, it's very fun. It's a fun experience. You get to clash your personality with other people. You get to express yourself through music. You get to have fun, watch the game.
I have some of the best students. I really admire their tenacity, their dedication, and I just admire that they come in willing to work to help build this program. For them, they're just well, this is fun. Let's just enjoy the moment, and they have made the most out of it. I just really applaud these students for what they do.
My name is Angela Shelton. I am the assistant principal at Fairview Elementary in Dayton Public Schools. So I enjoy working with Dayton Public Schools because of the interactions that I have with students on a day-to-day basis. It is those small opportunities to make connections and help students to self-regulate and getting their bodies ready to learn that I appreciate the most. I appreciate and I love working with the teachers in Dayton Public. Dayton Public has the most phenomenal teachers. I've learned so much from them during my years here in Dayton Public. And so it's those things, the students and the teachers and the connections that makes coming here. Everything that I hold true to me, everything that I value closely, I have actually been grounded in that through DPS. To be specific, when we talk about being equitable, it was through DPS where I was able to join the Montgomery County Equity Fellows and to really start digging in and having deep conversations around equity. I got that through DPS. When I think about social emotional learning, which is very dear to my heart, I got that through DPS, through Conscious Discipline and our partnership with Learn to Earn and Preschool Promise. When you talk about instructional strategies and approaches to learning, I dug deep in that through DPS. So I am the professional that I am right now because of the initiatives and the strategies and the approaches that are grounded in Dayton Public Schools.
My name is Gary Armstrong. I am the assistant principal at Kemp Elementary School, graduating from Dunbar High School, having attended DPS since kindergarten. DPS has had a great positive impact on my entire family and given me and several members of my family rewarding careers. I love impacting the lives of students, male and female. Mentoring and coaching has been a passion of mine my entire career. I enjoy being a role model for students. The benefits of working in DPS are endless. Dayton Public Schools provides a great place for employees to develop as professionals and positively impact the families and students of our community.
My name is Brandon Stillimer, and I'm the automotive teacher here at Ponitz. I'm actually a Ponitz automotive graduate. After I graduated, I went to the military and became a mechanic for the military. After that, I came back and went to college and ended up coming here to teach at the program I graduated from. In this program, I learned the basic skills like tools, theories, and principles of how brakes work, how engines operate.
My sophomore year, we took motors. We broke them all down, put them right back together. My junior year, we did electrical. I loved electrical.
Pretty much the basics right now: oil change, tire rotations, tire changes, how engines work, performance.
They're learning how to use the machines in here, the lifts, tools, and everything.
I've learned how to break down engines, fix cars. I've learned how to do electrical. I'm in electrical now.
This is my first time working on a project car, like kind of by myself, but it's not a one-man job at all. You need a team.
So I think the biggest benefit is not only do they get to learn at an earlier age, but also they can take the skills they learned and get employment earlier. This program, we partner with a lot of really good partners, and we can get them into job placement. They're starting to build their networking earlier in life than wait until later.
Everybody can't teach you how to work on a car. Our teachers are here for it to break down and show us what really goes into a car besides the basics.
It's cool to see the progression from when I was here to what the district is now and then what we're looking forward in the future.
Dayton Public Schools have prepared me for my future to be successful in my automotive industry and strive for my dreams.
I want to end up opening my own business and helping other people who are in need of cars or just working on the cars.
Through our advisory committee, we're finding out what the real world needs, and we're building those technicians to get them into what is the current need for the industry.
My day begins with students when I greet them at the front door at 8:15. And then I go to welcome them and help them get out of cars, greet the students. At that time, I kind of touch base with students just to see how they're doing and if there's anything that I can perceive that may need to happen with them or supports that I might need to give them or prepare for them. And then I always do morning announcements. That's something that I started because I think it's important for students to be greeted in the morning. We do the Pledge of Allegiance, and then I always say the vision and mission of East One Elementary so we can get ourselves focused and organized for the day and know what our purpose is and why we're here, both staff, students, and administration.
As a building administrator, it is critical and very important that you make yourself visible so that parents see you interacting with them and their kids. It's very critical that they know that you are there for them, providing support, showing them that you do care, greeting them every morning, saying hello. That's a very important part of the job.
My job as an administrator is to work with the staff to provide everything the student may need during their day and to move them forward and help them grow academically and also as a person. You know, we educate the whole child, you know, their intellect, their social emotional learning. It's all critical. And so children come to us and our job is to help them understand school and love school, not only for the day or the year, but also for a lifetime.
It is critical for principals to have positive relationships with their students. I mean, it gives them a sense of significance, a sense of belonging, a sense of pride that they know who you are and you know who they are. It motivates them, empowers them to want to do well. So when they see you and you're giving them words of wisdom, they want to please. So as a building administrator, those relationships are very important.
What I love most about DPS is the opportunities that we're providing for our students, whether it be academic, sports, all of the extracurricular things that we're providing for our students. DPS seems to be on the right track in gauging what our students need, what our needs are, what the needs are, and providing for those needs.
So I really enjoy being a principal. It is, of all of the things that I've done in education throughout my career, I've been a math teacher, I've been a coach, an instructional coach, I've been an athletic coach, I've been an assistant principal, and now a principal. And I really enjoy being a principal because one of the things that I feel is that I have an opportunity to really see their individual growth, but also then see them grow as a group. I enjoy working with Dayton Public Schools because it is a nice-sized school district. You really get to know not just the teachers, but the families, the students, and really your school community. I've been able to work with several families through multiple children, and it's just really nice to have that parental contact and to really get to know our parents and work with them and their families to help our students be successful.
Hey you guys, I'm Wham Middleton. Too Tall Winston. And we're with the world famous Harlem Globetrotters here at Belmont High School. We just want to thank Dayton Public Schools for having us out here. Come on now.
Hi, my name is Carrie Wilcox. I'm a 3rd grade English Language Arts teacher at Fairview Elementary. I like working as a part of Dayton Public Schools just because I get unique opportunities. I think watching students have those light bulb moments is such a win, but I think also getting the opportunity to share and grow with other teachers and work in collaboration, they've been very innovative, I think, especially during the past couple years. I've gotten a lot of great opportunities to lead in my building, but also I think lead in the Dayton community, and I think they've built me as a leader from the very beginning. I think Dayton has enabled teachers to pivot, especially during the pandemic. I think we all had to learn and grow together to really support our students, and I think Dayton Public really focused on the whole child during that time, looking at how do we feed the kids, how do we close the gaps, and I think they've worked hard to make that happen. Dayton Public Schools is going to offer you an opportunity to grow as a teacher, as an educator. They're also going to give you unique opportunities with students, giving you time to work with students in small groups, making sure that we have classroom setups that are going to support that and support them as educators.
Everything we're teaching in music in Dayton Public Schools goes towards the whole child. So we're helping people, kids not just be better musicians, but be just better people. The skills we're teaching really go to increase literacy with our early learners. We are, just teaching how to focus, how to learn, the actual ability to learn new skills, whether it's literacy, math, social studies, music, art, PE, really any of those.
I think this is awesome. The crowd today amazed me. I didn't know how many people would show up. The children showed up, and then their parents showed up, and some of them even came up and said, "Thank you for doing this." So this is our first adventure out in public since COVID. So we are thrilled that we can stand here and present this.
We have an incredibly talented group of kids here in Dayton Public Schools, and today's just a great chance to celebrate those talents that those kids have.
If we catch them right in kinder and first grade, we can do a lot of good work. Hi, my name is Dr. Nikki. I am an educator. I work with teachers and kids around the country, and I write a lot of books. I've been working in classrooms doing guided math as well as looking at energizers, because there's so much research that says kindergarten, first grade, all of that math is foundational to reading and to math. There's long-term studies that look at what kids were doing in kindergarten with math.
It's so important for kids to build number sense and understand how to play with numbers, especially at an early age, so that they understand that math is about thinking, not just getting answers. I'm Dr. Allison Mello, and I'm a former assistant superintendent, former math specialist, classroom teacher, and curriculum director, and now I'm a full-time math consultant. I'm really excited to be in Dayton Public Schools and working with the classroom teachers, showing them some different routines to get kids excited about learning math.
Going into the schools, I see teachers that are enthusiastic, that are ready to learn, that are already doing wonderful things, and that are trying to improve their practice. So my time here at Dayton Public has been wonderful because I love working with teachers and students.
So this is the game design programming pathway. A lot of it involves some basic, like your basic programming class, your game design class, the IT career field, and then the programming career field is never ending. So, I mean, there's so many opportunities career-wise that kids can really look into and then build upon and get certifications in here to help when they leave here, they're better prepared, and then resume builders are, I mean, they can have as many as they want when it comes to certification, and that looks phenomenal for them. And within this current pathway, I mean, there's endless opportunities for kids when it comes to IT programming, game design. It's been very exciting for the kids that have come through. Some of the stuff we do in here is really cool and very innovative for 21st century learning skills.
I learned so far, I'm learning right now the basics of programming and all like functions and all that. And so like I think it's preparing me for the future because like I get to have some experience before I get like thrown out into college or into the real world. And so I could like jump into my career than have to wait and learn after I get out of high school.
I feel like DPS gives students a very big variety of choices that they want to do whenever choosing their pathway. So I feel like they're doing good, like giving students like a large amount of options.
So this is a career field and a pathway that you can come in and you want to enjoy. You'll enjoy it every day and want to come back. And so that's a huge push. And we can make it as relatable and applicable to students' lives as much as possible.
So in Dayton Public Schools, we're really happy to have Project Lead the Way, which is sort of a nationwide STEM program. They've got a whole bunch of different STEM classes, and our goal, we call it Gateway. It's a gateway to high school, right? So we're trying to get kids excited and interested in these different STEM areas, right? Whether it's robotics or engineering or whatever it is. And it doesn't matter exactly what they're doing here. They're learning those skills that you talked about, the 21st century skills, right? Teamwork, collaboration, problem solving. So we're using a lot of technology that is good for them to learn, but the real skills that they're getting is that problem solving and that collaboration, because the technology is going to change, right? And the key is for them to learn those skills.
My favorite part is when the students take ownership. The other day we were doing robots, and a girl who always says, I can't do it, said, Miss Tubbs, look, I did that, I made that robot go. So that was kind of priceless. And I like them seeing the aha moments when they figure out something, especially the girls, when the girls that, aren't really into STEM as much as the boys are. And when they get their robots working and they take ownership and pride in what they're doing and they're excited about it, that's really special to me.
Project Search is a transition to work program for young adults with disabilities. It is a unique program that is 1 school year in length, During that time, the students will participate in 3 targeted internships based on their interests and strengths. They will acquire competitive, marketable, and transferable skills through their internships. Some of the duties that they might participate in are cleaning, assisting patients and staff, delivering supplies, transporting patients, cooking, fixing things throughout the hospital. And then through these tasks, they learn valuable life skills such as how to handle constructive criticism, teamwork, appropriate communication for the workplace, critical thinking. If a student is committed to finding competitive employment, they will have a job when they are completed with this program. We are with them every step of the way.
My name is Richard Rayford. I am the Senior Executive Director for Dayton Public Schools. So our staff has a very important role into education, which they make sure that the buildings are clean for the students, which helps them to focus more on the education part of school, so they have a better opportunity to learn. DPS has had a huge impact on my family. I've actually had 4 children that graduated from DPS who are successful. 2 are nurses, and 1 is a semi-driver for a big company. I've also had probably 10 nieces and nephews that has attended DPS as well as, and I currently have probably about 7 great nieces and nephews that attend Dayton Public Schools. And I enjoy coming into the schools when I see their smiling faces, and they like to see their uncle come in and talk to them and try to help them to gain a better path for their education. Personally, DPS has impacted me both professionally and personally, and I enjoy the opportunity that it has provided. If you enjoy contributing to the education of children, this is a great place to start. There's an opportunity for growth in your success. If you like to advance your career, there's excellent opportunities here for you to advance your career. And I've been here 17 years, and I wouldn't trade any year for working here.
I'm Mr. Frank.
And I'm Fultzy.
And we are
Science Saturdays.
We really like to teach the scientific process by doing experiments live on stage, and we try to show them things they may have not seen before, come up with some creative ways of doing some things and communicating science on lots of different topics.
We are bringing science to a level for everyone, and we want children to know that everyone can be a scientist and they can do science. It's not scary, and it's easy, and it's fun. Hey everybody, we're Science Saturdays, and you can come find us on September 10th or November 12th at 9:30 a.m. at the Engineers Club of Dayton.
And if you want more information, you can find us on Facebook or Twitter at ScienceSat.
My name is John L. Foster. I'm a math teacher here at Ponus CTC, and I'd like to say I am DPS. I enjoy working with my students, helping them to learn what they need to learn for the day. I enjoy the interaction. I enjoy that road of discovery along with the students, help us to get from point A to point B in terms of increasing their knowledge and also increasing their wisdom as well concerning mathematics. Superintendent Lolly and my math supervisor, Dr. Kurt, and of course my wife, and of course my colleagues, my math colleagues, and just my colleagues in general. They all give me encouragement. We just like a big family, we just encourage each other. I believe DPS is a good place for anyone to start their career because we have children who are in need of having good mentors, good leaders, good teachers who are willing to show them love to help them to grow, because they might not get that entirely at home, but this will be a second family to them to get that love and get the knowledge and get the education, the good education that they need to have to go and prosper in this world of ours.
My name is John Houston, and I teach biology at Paul Laurence Dunbar High School with Dayton Public Schools. I've thought a lot about why a young teacher would want to choose to work at DPS, and I think, you know, Dayton has such a rich history of successful people and a lot of creativity, and there's a great spirit in the city of Dayton. What I enjoy most about my job at DPS, I really enjoy working with the students. I like seeing how our students grow as people. What really resonates with me is every time you look across the room, you don't know who the people you see could be, the next doctor, the next lawyer. You know, I envision myself going to the hospital one day and having one of these people working on me, or having one of these students be an attorney that I may have to hire at some point. You know, they're going to be part of tomorrow, and they're really thriving in this high school environment that we've created, where you have so many students that just seem on the edge of success. And so if you come to Dayton and you teach in Dayton, you can really help someone find that dream and find that path. You have so many young people with tremendous skill and creativity that just don't know how to project themselves or how to bring that forward. They don't know what they have. And so there's no better place to do that than right here in Dayton.
My name is Mike Manuel, and I teach construction at Ponitz CTC. When I first came here, I actually interviewed for, I wanted to do mentoring. And next thing you know, I got an offer in the mail to see if I was interested in a CTE position. That's not what I came here for initially. But for my goals in doing the kind of work that I do in the community, where before I was mentoring kids one-on-one, you know, through my church and in some other areas, but now I mentor my own students. I would think others would probably choose DPS because of the support system. You know, I thought about the same thing with having a charter school and then not really having somebody that could do the counseling or somebody that could do the intervention. With ESL students, there's people here that speak several languages. So a lot of my students live on the east side, they're Africans. They may speak 5 languages, but I don't know there are too many places that they can come where they actually have ESL teachers that will work with them on learning English to get to the point to where they can actually be proficient. So I think it's a culmination of having the opening their arms for immigrant students, and then providing a support system that can help them become successful.
My name is Deidre Mitsoff. I'm an English language specialist. I teach at Wright Brothers Middle School, 7th and 8th grade in Dayton Public Schools. When I talk to other people about my job, I tell them I work with the best adults and I work with the best students. I love who I interact with every day. They push me to become a better person, a better educator. They challenge me, they support me, and that is absolutely the best part of what I do every day. I enjoy getting to work with such diverse students. I have students who are native to Dayton, I have students who are new to Dayton, and I have students who are new to the country. So it's really awesome that we get to learn from one another and grow together. And I try really hard to use my students' knowledge and their lived experiences to help drive what we're learning and what we're doing in the classroom. Every child needs a trusted adult in their life. I try really hard to model that for students and just encourage them as they kind of make their way through life on the path of becoming the best person they can be. I believe that Dayton Public School students deserve the most caring and nurturing environment. I really believe that Dayton Public Schools will continue to grow and to change, and we'll be right there making sure that our students are successful and that they are productive members of society.
My name is Mark Fairhurst. I am the teacher leader or lead teacher at Horace Mann Elementary. and this is my 6th year in this role. DPS is a great place to land for a career. If you want to work in a district with tremendous diversity and with unique challenges in an inner city environment, and you don't want to just choose the path of least resistance and the easiest career where I guess I would call it just putting it on autopilot and expecting your students are all going to be self-learners, this is the place for you. You will have, again, tons of opportunities to work in unique settings with children of diverse backgrounds who have tremendous needs. We all recognize that, we acknowledge that, but we don't steer away from it. We welcome that. We relish the opportunities to demonstrate what a great staff we have and what a great district we have. And time again, I've seen people step up to those challenges and take them on and be a real difference maker in someone's life. When I interviewed for this role, I remember Dr. Lawley, after asking me the interview questions, asking me if I had any questions, and I said yes. Tell me that I will have the opportunity to work closely with staff in a way that will make a difference in their lives. Tell me it's going to be about changing lives, and by extension, helping teachers change children's lives by equipping them to be better at the craft than they were before we met and before we worked through the coaching process. When I get up in the morning, I need to know that what I do professionally makes a difference. And so that motivates me, challenges me to come to work prepared to do the best possible job that I can, regardless of what I'm called to tackle that day.
Remember, we tell you before, there are 4 reasons why you vote: for candidates or issues that benefit you, your livelihood, your family, and your community. No other reason. You don't vote because someone is tall or short, black or white, male or female, Republican or Democrat. You vote those 4 reasons. That takes care of you and your family and your community.
So today is the first time I'm going to be voting for my family. My family is from Mexico, so I'm the first generation from my family. So right now, this is everybody in the background is voting for the first time. It was a very amazing experience. I like that we were crossing like around the bridge, and you know, it was just a very powerful moment where, you know, it's like your first time and you're going to have that as your memory. To like, oh, I remember I have to cross the bridge to like vote. If you want to fix something that is really injustice, then your vote really does matter. Like every person votes matters. Voting for the first time is kind of like exciting because, you know, I get to go home and then just tell my parents that I just voted, and then they just seem proud of me because they never experienced like something like this of voting before. So I'm like kind of like giving them like a chance to like, oh, if like something is wrong, I'm able to like make the change.
The Adult Transition Unit program is a program for students with special needs who have graduated from high school and chose to defer their diploma for a year so they can learn job skills and life skills. The goal of the program is for the students to become gainfully employed in the community. Some of the life skills that the students learn are how to write the RTA, they work on communication skills, and they learn how to budget their money. The students are in the program for 1 school year. They start the program in August and end in May. The students learn job skills by volunteering at 3 different sites: Sinclair Community College, the University of Dayton, and the Gospel Mission. At Sinclair Community College and the University of Dayton, the students work in the dining hall where they learn customer service skills, serving customers. They also learn stocking skills and cleaning skills. At the Gospel Mission, the students learn janitorial skills. The majority of the students that complete the program get jobs. Some places that they get jobs at are the hospital, restaurant, grocery stores, and retail stores.
Once the students have had their opportunity to learn the different jobs within food service here at the college, then it is beneficial for them. They are able to go out and market themselves to the different food service employers and the Restaurant Association to let them know that they have worked in the front of the house, washing tables and greeting with the customers, and vice versa in the back of the house, how to do all the stock and inventory all the way to closing out at the end of the day, taking and mopping and doing all the trash and everything. So as a benefit for them as they apply within the restaurants, then that gives them the ability to let them know that they've been trained in those duties. As a contractor here at Sinclair, we have enjoyed tremendously the students coming in on a weekly basis, helping us with our day-to-day operations. And I think the benefit and the partnership that we have with the Dayton Public School Systems is a wonderful program, and we hope that it continues on so we can have these students be able to go out into the general population and get jobs.
Goodwill Easter Seals are proud partners with Dayton Public Schools in helping them enrich their lives for better futures. As a job developer, we assist the students with developing work-related skills for competitive employment within the community. We meet with them each Friday. In addition, we discuss and demonstrate potential job openings, get to know each person and what their interests are. We discuss and demonstrate potential job openings, help them research that particular position, that company, and see if it's a good match for each individual that we serve.
This transition program with Dayton Public Schools have given students with special needs the opportunity to achieve their transition goals by becoming gainfully employed in the community, and also it helps them achieve their independent living goals, which will make them successful throughout life.
The All City Band is a band made up of 3 high schools in Dayton, which will be Belmont High School, Thurgood Marshall High School, and Paul Laurence Dunbar High School. We bring our bands together so that we are bringing back bands in the public schools of Dayton.
Well, I've seen a lot of people in bands, and that got me interested in music, and I've been around music my whole life. I was in choir during my elementary years, and that really got me into actually, being in music.
Dr. Lally has been nothing but supportive of us. Music in the schools helps scholarships. It helps them to travel to see outside of the state. Being in the band has allowed them these opportunities to go see this other state or go to Washington, D.C. or Texas or even out of the country.
Band's given me the opportunity to be able to go to college and have scholarships, and I've got to see a lot, especially this year, being able to be with the other schools. I've got to learn from the other band directors. You get to experience a lot, and you get to have that family and connection in band, and you get to just let go and just play.
My experience is always nervous. I'm always nervous when it comes to being in the games because I have a lot of people watching me, but what brings me back is the fact that I know I'm going to make these people actually love the music that they hear.
Meeting the students from the other schools, from the different bands, it's very fun. It's a fun experience. You get to clash your personality with other people. You get to express yourself through music. You get to have fun, watch the game.
I have some of the best students. I really admire their tenacity, their dedication, and I just admire that they come in willing to work to help build this program. For them, they're just well, this is fun. Let's just enjoy the moment, and they have made the most out of it. I just really applaud these students for what they do.
My name is Angela Shelton. I am the assistant principal at Fairview Elementary in Dayton Public Schools. So I enjoy working with Dayton Public Schools because of the interactions that I have with students on a day-to-day basis. It is those small opportunities to make connections and help students to self-regulate and getting their bodies ready to learn that I appreciate the most. I appreciate and I love working with the teachers in Dayton Public. Dayton Public has the most phenomenal teachers. I've learned so much from them during my years here in Dayton Public. And so it's those things, the students and the teachers and the connections that makes coming here. Everything that I hold true to me, everything that I value closely, I have actually been grounded in that through DPS. To be specific, when we talk about being equitable, it was through DPS where I was able to join the Montgomery County Equity Fellows and to really start digging in and having deep conversations around equity. I got that through DPS. When I think about social emotional learning, which is very dear to my heart, I got that through DPS, through Conscious Discipline and our partnership with Learn to Earn and Preschool Promise. When you talk about instructional strategies and approaches to learning, I dug deep in that through DPS. So I am the professional that I am right now because of the initiatives and the strategies and the approaches that are grounded in Dayton Public Schools.
My name is Gary Armstrong. I am the assistant principal at Kemp Elementary School, graduating from Dunbar High School, having attended DPS since kindergarten. DPS has had a great positive impact on my entire family and given me and several members of my family rewarding careers. I love impacting the lives of students, male and female. Mentoring and coaching has been a passion of mine my entire career. I enjoy being a role model for students. The benefits of working in DPS are endless. Dayton Public Schools provides a great place for employees to develop as professionals and positively impact the families and students of our community.
My name is Brandon Stillemer, and I'm the automotive teacher here at Ponitz. I'm actually a Ponitz automotive graduate. After I graduated, I went to the military and became a mechanic for the military. After that, I came back and went to college and ended up coming here to teach at the program I graduated from. In this program, I learned the basic skills like tools, theories, and principles of how brakes work, how engines operate.
My sophomore year, we took motors. We broke them all down, put them right back together. My junior year, we did electrical. I loved electrical.
Pretty much the basics right now: oil change, tire rotations, tire changes, how engines work, performance.
They're learning how to use the machines in here, the lifts, tools, and everything. I've learned how to break down engines, fix cars. I've learned how to do electrical. I'm in electrical now.
This is my first time working on a project car, like kind of by myself, but it's not a one-man job at all. You need a team.
So I think the biggest benefit is not only do they get to learn at an earlier age, but also they can take the skills they learn and get employment earlier. This program, we partner with a lot of really good partners, and we can get them into job placement. They're starting to build their networking earlier in life than waiting until later.
Everybody can't teach you how to work on a car. Our teachers are here for it to break down and show us what really goes into a car besides the basics.
It's cool to see the progression from when I was here to what the district is now and then what we're looking forward in the future.
Dayton Public Schools have prepared me for my future to be successful in my automotive industry and strive for my dreams.
I want to end up opening my own business and helping other people who are in need of cars or just working on the cars.
Through our advisory committee, we're finding out what the real world needs, and we're building those technicians to get them into what is the current need for the industry.
My day begins with students when I greet them at the front door at 8:15. And then I go to welcome them and help them get out of cars, greet the students. At that time, I kind of touch base with students just to see how they're doing. And if there's anything that I can perceive that may need to happen with them or supports that I might need to give them or prepare for them. And then I always do morning announcements. That's something that I started because I think it's important for students to be greeted in the morning. We do the Pledge of Allegiance, and then I always say the vision and mission of East One Elementary so we can get ourselves focused and organized for the day and know what our purpose is and why we're here, both staff, students, and administration.
As a building administrator, it is critical and very important that you make yourself visible so that parents see you interacting with them and their kids. It's very critical that they know that you are there for them, providing support, showing them that you do care, greeting them every morning, saying hello. That's a very important part of the job.
My job as an administrator is to work with the staff to provide everything the student may need during their day and to move them forward and help them grow academically and also as a person. You know, we educate the whole child, you know, their intellect, their social emotional learning. It's all critical. And so children come to us and our job is to help them understand school and love school, not only for the day or the year, but also for a lifetime.
It is critical for principals to have positive relationships with their students. I mean, it gives them a sense of significance, a sense of belonging, a sense of pride that they know who you are, you know who they are. It motivates them, empowers them to want to do well. So when they see you and you're giving them words of wisdom, they want to please. So as a building administrator, those relationships are very important.
What I love most about DPS is the opportunities that we're providing for our students, whether it be academic, sports, all of the extracurricular things that we're providing for our students. DPS seems to be on the right track in gauging what our students need, what our needs are, what the needs are, and providing for those needs.
So I really enjoy being a principal. It is, of all of the things that I've done in education throughout my career, I've been a math teacher, I've been a coach, an instructional coach, I've been an athletic coach, I've been an assistant principal, and now a principal. And I really enjoy being a principal because one of the things that I feel is that I have an opportunity to really see their individual growth, but also then see them grow as a group. I enjoy working with Dayton Public Schools because it is a nice sized school district. You really get to know not just the teachers, but the families, the students, and really your school community. I've been able to work with several families through multiple children, and it's just really nice to have that parental contact and to really get to know our parents and work with them and their families to help our students be successful.
Is this going live? So I need to sit there. I don't know where she is. She went. No, I'll stand up at the end of the meeting. Let me look professional. Why would you do that? Because it's the last meeting. It is, but you don't have to sit on my back.
I know that's right.
I mean, yes, but there is one. Whoops.
I'm really proud of that. You know how much work that took? That's some work.
But you're right. Second.
I always do this stuff. What? Let the record show that the Board of Education of the Dayton City School District has just completed an executive session during which it considered the employment of a public employee, and this is not a touchscreen, so prepared for, conducted, and reviewed negotiations with employees regarding their compensation or other terms and conditions of their employment. I move that we exit executive section. Is there a second?
Second.
Give it to Board Member Sampson. Any questions? Seeing none, may we have a vote?
President Goodwin,
Yes.
Mr. Smith,
Yes.
Mr. Sampson,
Yes.
Ms. Wick, Dr. Pickett,
Yes. Turn your thing
Ms.
on.
Reinhardt,
Yes.
Mr. Lacy.
Yes.
7 yeses.
Thank you. Let's go ahead and go back up to Superintendent's recommendation A.
I don't see the change that we just, I
Oh,
don't see
yeah.
the change
Oh,
that we
amend it on-
discussed.
I'll do it on the floor.
You do it on the floor, okay, all right. I recommend we waive the 48-hour rule.
I did, yeah.
So moved.
Is there a
Second.
second? Moved in second. I'd like to make an amendment to this, though, if possible. Actually, I can do it on the next one. Any questions? Seeing none, then we have a vote to add the individual to the next, to waive the 48-hour rule to add this individual. Yeah.
So moved.
Oh, we have to vote now. We got it. Go ahead. Madam Treasurer, may we have a vote?
President Goodwin,
Yes. This is line.
Mr. Smith,
Yes.
Mr. Sampson,
Yes.
Ms. Wick,
Yes.
Dr. Pickett,
Yes.
Ms. Reinhardt,
Yes.
Mr. Lacy.
Yes.
He went on this
7 yeses.
Oh, I'd like to do a motion to reconsider.
So moved.
Reconsider.
Yes. My motion to reconsider is because I actually need to amend this one because I thought he was on the second one, but he's only on this one alone. So we just we voted to waive him, but I think they put him on here only to be voted on for there.
He is.
That's what Dr. Lawrence just told me. Do y'all see him on the second one?
No, but we waived
No.
It's currently off.
This is just the waiver. Okay.
On this, we already waived. the
Okay,
rule.
never mind.
So now we will be
I retract.
voting on what was on.
I withdraw, but he's not on the other one, so I need to add him. Yeah, okay.
And now you're gonna.
Just
trying to figure out.
Yes.
Okay.
So I withdraw my motion to reconsider. Your next recommendation?
My next recommendation is, so we're still on A, right?
B.
Okay, yes. My next recommendation, I recommend approval of the following Human Resources Agenda B for a vote.
So moved.
Is there a
Second.
Second and moved. Actually would like to make an amendment to the motion. I'd like to add, if you guys would accept my amendment.
I would.
So moved.
Well, I gotta make it. You can't move it. I'd like to amend the motion to add the individual listed on the 48-hour waiver to the HR agenda and add him at the systems analyst position at the approved rate. Systems administrator position. So,
I'll accept.
and at the district rate of a system administrator position.
Then we can accept that in our motions.
Okay.
So I accept that.
Thank you. I appreciate you taking that. Any other questions, comments? All right, seeing none, may we have a vote?
President Goodwin,
Yes.
Mr. Smith,
Yes.
Mr. Sampson,
Yes.
Ms. Wick,
Yes.
Dr. Pickett,
Yes.
Ms. Reinhardt, Mr. Lacy.
Yes.
7 yeses.
Thank you. All right, down to new business board members. Policy for first reading. My second, this is not my usual handy dandy device.
Did we vote on the DEA after?
No, we saved that for next week.
We don't need to.
Oh, okay.
Next week.
They had to
That's
make
fine.
some.
I'm sorry.
All right. In so much as the Board of Education is committed to the continuing update of its policy, rules, and regulation manual, and the committee which was appointed has been working towards that goal, the following are brought at this time for first reading in compliance with the board file BFC policy adoption. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Board of Education of the Dayton City School District, Montgomery County, Ohio, hereby accepts and adopts the following policies that have been codified for inclusion in the Handbook of Policies, Rules, and Regulations. EEA, eligibility zone for pupil transportation. GCAC, transfer and assignments. GDN, evaluation of support staff. These policies are being read for the first time. As such, a motion or second is not required. The policies will be available in the superintendent's office for review and comment prior to their second reading and adoption by the Board of Education. Furthermore, the policies will be reviewed by the superintendent's office, the board office, and the legal department of the Dayton Public Schools prior to the second reading. Thank you. Before we close out, just give anyone an opportunity if anyone had any closing marks. Board Member Reiner.
Can you give us a rundown on the policies put up for first reading for our understanding?
Sure.
I miss having the in-depth conversation in policy committee. So
Sure.
I'd like to know about where did these come from? Like what, I would love to have a detailed rundown of these.
Sure, give them to you real quick. In the eligibility zone for pupil transportation, the only change in there is changing from 2 miles to 1.5 miles to align with what our department is currently doing. And in the transfer and assignments policy, we actually did not have an existing policy about how transfers or assignments or voluntary transfers could be made. So this policy came through. It actually, we started on it in November, came back this month when people have more time to actually flush it out. And it is now just creating a process for individuals who are either transferred voluntarily or involuntarily, what that will occur for them. And the evaluation of support staff current, this policy was updated to include the treasurer and business manager in that process, as well as, I believe that's the only change there, and as well as putting some language in there too, to give when, actually I think it's missing something. It is missing a statement in there. Ms. Kidd, in policy, did they not request that this had in by the second meeting in August for the board to adopt that? Thank you. I appreciate you, Ms. Reiner, for asking for explanations, because we actually found something that was missing in there. So in this final one, evaluation of support staff is, again, adding in the treasurer and business manager's responsibility to perform performance evaluation on their staffs, and as well as putting in an actual timeline for the board to approve the process by which evaluations will be conducted for that year. As it already had that in there for us to do it, but it did not give them a guidance of when that would occur. Anything else on those? Okay, not a problem. Does anyone have any closing thoughts that they would like before we get out of here? All right, is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Moved to second. Any questions? Seeing none, then we have a vote.
President Goodwin?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Sampson?
Yes.
Ms. Wick?
Yes.
Dr. Pickett?
Yes.
Ms. Reiner?
Yes.
Mr. Lacy?
Yes.
7 yeses.
Hey.